All right, here we go, everybody. IPL 500 is here. It is live. It's been going live for the last couple of hours here. The round of 64, of course, just wrapping up about 30 minutes ago when we are just getting started with the second game, rather, in our quarterfinals. So it's the round of 64, probably about an hour ago that it finished. Quarterfinals underway. We're going to take a look and see as these second games are just getting into the NPC rounds. Going to very quickly move as fast as possible through the results and see what we had happened so far. A couple of upsets already from what it looks like here in the results. Let's hop on over nice and quickly. Of course, we had our sit and goes on Friday. A couple of people, of course, being able to make it in through those, and then from the way it went from there, let's take a look. So, of course, Lobby 1 is going to be led up here by Nariba, Maru, Narkesh, and Slicks. The people who did not make it out of that lobby, unfortunately, going to be Badlands, Moo from Team Hype, which is rather surprising. Karabasov, they had quite the strong run over the last couple of weeks, not going to be able to make it out of the round of 64 this time. And then XAU's Berserk going to end up falling here. Lobby number 2, Conquer, out of nowhere, going to take the tiebreaker and lead the charge here for lobby number 2. FRK from Team Phantom is right there as well. Hasu finding another fantastic start here in this tournament. And third, XAU's Mito BR going to take the 4th spot and round up the top 4. Hiroku, Not Complain, Deno, and Honir gonna all end up falling in this instance. Lobby 3, Slooper, in fact, someone who I believe streams quite consistently here on Twitch, might be even streaming their gameplay right now, made it on into the leading position here in Lobby 3. Coolagest, I keep thinking that they're a new player, but nope, they've actually been around here for a couple months now, and they are finally showing some very consistent results. They've placed high before, and now they are continuing that hype. Speaking of hype, Fury Hype going to be taking care of the 3rd spot based off of tiebreaker, and Zarin from Team Phantom is going to get 4th, make it on out, but Lou Keats, who is a former grand finalist here in our IPL 500, is barely going to miss out losing the tiebreaker. Illuvium Hunter, Ole's the show falling out a little early here, and then Ole's Sandy, unfortunately, going to round up 7th and 8th respectively. Not quite making it. Lobby 4, Web3 Gaming TV Hype, probably one of the favorites here in this tournament, is going to lead the charge in Lobby 4. Patch Tourist finding 2nd. Fancy Pants from Team Atlas going to be taking 3rd. Ole's Fruto going to get 4th. And losing the tiebreaker with Fruto is Carl from Team Phantom. That one's going to hurt. Going to barely miss out in 5th place. One of our grand finalists from, I believe it was last week, Aki, is going to barely miss the cut here in 6th. Eerie Rocks and Seven Devil, one of our raffle winners, I think, from last week, barely not going to make it. I don't know what it is, but apparently all the cars behind me now feel like speeding and revving their engines, so apologies if there's a lot of background noise. Not even my filters can stop that madness, apparently. Lobby 5, Texan Hype going to lead the charge here alongside I'm a Fishy, John Aquino from Dupsura, and Lynx PQP barely squeaking in there as Alnert, AI Blaze, Nika, and Ice Spirit going to end up falling. Lobby 6, we had Paulo Hype going to lead the charge alongside XAU's Drudo. Soda Hype, our winner from last week, makes it in 3rd. McCrowan in 4th. Fox Spirit falling out very early in this one. Never mind, Soda was 2 weeks ago. Fox Spirit was last week. And our winner from last week is going to fall. CFGD is going to fall in 6th. Haas from Team OLA and Dr. Spoon Hype going to fall as well. Lobby 7, OLA's Gazera leads the charge alongside Nefer, who had the fight in through that sit and go. Made it work and makes it into the next round. Element KO from Team Atlas making it in, and Magnat Signicat making it in, winning the tiebreaker over Unhappy Hype. Borges, one of our grand finalists from last week, going to fall alongside Kirito and Wolverine from Team Hype. A new face here for me personally in Lobby 8, leading the charge, winning the tiebreaker, and that's going to be Luix. leading the charge there. Axel Apex in second. Zico Perico, he was just chirping himself how he was doing bad in tournaments. Well, there you go. Makes it into the third place spot. And Anubis is going to make it out of the round of 64 as well. With Cyforcer, Ole Changzer, Gaba, and Hakthar from Team BGD going to end up falling. Of course, our quarterfinals, we're kind of hopping in midway here. Excuse me. Hopping in midway here through this quarterfinals. We'll hop in with Lobby 1 in just a second, but we have Luix, who's in, or excuse me, from the top down, rather. Nefer from Team Phantom leading the charge right now alongside Web3 Gaming TV Hype, Hasu, and Luix. Meanwhile, Soda Hype in 5th, looking to fight their way up. Coolagas, Lynx PQP, and Slicks Hype all in the bubble spots here to try and fight their way in. Axel Apex leading Lobby 2 with Fury Hype, McCrowan, and Patch Tourist. Ole's Nariba in a bubble spot here in 5th. Texan Hype alongside LMNK Yo Atlas, XCU's Mito BR. Lobby 3 is looking interesting as well. I'm a Fishy leading the charge here with Fancy Pants from Team Atlas, Zarin from Team Phantom, Zico Perico, Maru, Hollow Hype, Conquer, and Magnat looking to try and fight their way back here. These are just best of 2s, so they have one more chance to try and get their way up there. Lastly, here in the Lobby 4, we have Narkish, Slooper, XAU Drudo, Ole Fruto, FRK Phantom, Ole Gazera, Anubis from Team Syndicate, and Jonakino from Team Sura. So as we can see, lots of very, very strong players throughout this tournament, and some of them might have their day cut just ever so slightly short here. Hopping on into our first game in just a moment's time. We are going to be going in with Lobby 1, which is, I believe, this one here. Get that all situated. And we won't waste much more time hopping into this. This one started a couple of minutes ago. So we should be past a lot of that early stage NPC kind of battling. Excuse me. A couple things that I did change from the last stream. I did lower my graphics settings a little bit. Try and make it a little bit smoother, but it is going to mean that it's not going to be as pretty to look at per se. I'm trying to cut down on the amount of tabs I have open here, so let's kill the music. That part looks good. Let's get chat popped up here in just a moment's time. Apparently, according to Gear, we're compensating for something, so I don't know what's going on there. Oh, the cars that drove by earlier. That's probably what. Of course, welcome, Gear. Welcome back. Okay. Quick second, then we'll get into the cast here for our first matchup. Alright, so here we are in the IPL 500 quarterfinals. This is the second game here in Lobby 1. We're kind of coming into the series a little bit hot. Didn't quite catch the very, very beginning of it, but we'll pick it up wherever we can, of course. In this lobby, we have start in terms of standings in the tournament itself. So it's Nefer from Team Phantom, Web3 Gaming TV Hype, Hasu, Luix, Soda Hype, Coolagas, Lynx PQP, and then Slicks Hype in order in that regard. Now, in this lobby, it obviously looks a little bit different here. Web3 is a little bit further down the board, even though they're basically in second at this point here. Nefer in a pretty decent position, but a couple of those people on the bubble making a good final push here, with Luix leading the charge. So we ride along with them here for this very first battle anyway. up against Sota Hype. Of course, Sota a winner in this IPL about 2 weeks ago. Looking to start things off exactly as Sota likes to do. Has the Rogues, tried and true, has the 4 Revenants as well. And I mean, finding that composition so early, so comfortable means they should be, in theory, cruising through this thing. Of course, looking forward to this tournament. We, of course, did have a patch not too long ago, so there very well could be some different compositions. I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago that it happened, including a couple of spectator changes, so I'm going to be looking forward to playing with that. The fact that we could even see the draft deck here right off the rip here is quite nice. Should be playing games now, but someone's got to work, but 100% it would be sacrilege for this not to be covered, and that is where I shine. To the detriment of pretty much all of my social life, but it is what it is. Let's take a look at the bottom at some of the players maybe having a little bit of a harder time in this one, as it's going to be Hasu versus Nefer. Let's get Nefer in the green since they have more health in this instance. With Fighter, Bulwark, Berserker, Templar is the combination here for Nefer. Meanwhile, on the other side, Hasu just tried and true, 5 Bulwark into the 2 Harbingers. Let's see how this ends up going out here. Right now, I am just seeing the fighters do absolute work. Sure, they are taking reflective damage every time they hit one of those tanks, but so far, that has not been much of a factor. They've been able to tear on through. That Polar Bear, the Jokul, with the boosted attack speed on every attack is doing work, but what about that Furiox in the back? Hasu's Furiox is going to be able to hold the line just barely and stop the bleeding there for Hasu. Hang around that 46 mark. With them taking that, we will look in from their point of view from now on, at least King of the Hill style, until they end up dropping. Yes, the IPL 1000 is next weekend, so you can expect that there'll be coverage of that from me as well. 2 players at the bottom of this lobby are 2nd and 3rd place players in this group as of this moment. We do have, of course, the Bulwark Harbinger. Now with some Scions here. Actually, this is basically a mirrored team, but it looks like Web3 has the Empath, while Hasu has the Magma. A little shunt all the way into the back line, sending that Seer away. The front line here for Hasu is not holding up as well as it did in the last fight, however. Web3 looking good. Granted that Furiox has had a lot of time to open fire, stack some of that attack speed, but they have no more front line, but that is a lot of low health bars. They need to shoot, and they need to shoot quick if they want any chance of stopping this one. And even with the Magma, I don't think they're going to be able to do so. Hasu going to take the hit, and Web3 TV going to hang on for now. In terms of weapons, what did people use in this one? Hasu went for the Earth Bulwark Shield. Web3 went for the Scion Earth Shield. The Nature Rogue Axe is going to be the pickup here for Kulagast. The Scion Blaster, the Fire Blaster here for Link's PQP. The Nature Rogue Axe here for Sota, no surprise there. The Water Fighter Gauntlets here for Nefer. The Earth Empath Gauntlets here. Or is that, that's not Empath, is it anymore? No, it's Rogue now. Why am I still mind blown about that? The Rogue Earth Gauntlets coming out here for Slicks. And then the Fighter Bow, the Air Bow for Luix. Oh, we were just talking about Link's PQP not too long ago. Well, let's see how they're doing here. Sitting with 53 HP with a decent little mixture of compositions here. So you have a few of these guys that want to dive on through, and a few that just want to sit in the back and fire away. It's an interesting way to play, but it has a ton of damage if you can pull this off correctly. You do have that Octaves over in the back line, rate of fire, but it does not have much in regards to augments. It has no augments, actually, so it's not going to be pumping out as much damage as it could. All of that damage is going to be relied here on this ramp fight, which does have the newly changed Phantom, where they gain Omega Power on crits and then become untargetable upon launch. So they have that rogue linked with it as well, which does also allow for the 3 Inferno style, but will it be enough to get through this 3 Granite style coming on through here on the green side? Another good shunt going all the way into that corner. The Inferno is just ticking away here on the green health bars, and I think it's been super effective so far. Yeah, the Seer is still here, or the Singe rather, is here holding the line, but it has no more backup. It will melt away eventually. So that means that Web3 takes the hit in that one. Lynx PQP going to temporarily be our king of the hill here as they go up against Slicks, who is having exactly the kind of game they needed. After getting an 8th place finish in that first game, trying to qualify into that top 4 is very scary. Even a win doesn't necessarily guarantee you it, but the way that this lobby is shaping up, there is potential. So now with Lynx picking up a bit of a, or not with Lynx, but with Slicks rather, with another Rogue Revenant style. We know this is contested. You have Soda in your lobby, and that's exactly where they went. Granted, they also get the 7 Rogue, 4 Revenant with a little bit of Empath on top of it. Is the 6 Air Inferno style here for Lynx going to be enough to tear on through? Inferno's already procced nice and quickly. That's the beauty of having that Ranger weapon. It uses its Omega so quickly and fires on through. Rampfight's going to do their dance here and do a ton of damage. There are a ton of Illuvials still here on the side of Lynx PQP, but we have to worry about that slapping. That Ranger, it's rather tanky. Then with the Omnivamp, I'm guessing they have Omnivamp, because once again, how many times have we seen this before? The slapping is just able to out-sustain, and Slicks is going to now lead this lobby with one of our top 3 players now on the bubble. Very, very scary instance here for Web3 Gaming. TV Hype now going up against Slicks Hype, who we, of course, did just see. This little guy is still just a ramp feed, but still has plenty of damage to back it up. What about these drone augments here for Slicks Hype? Is there Omnivamp? Damn right, there's an Omnivamp. The combat rhythm is there, and that was one of the big factors in why that slash-in was, not slash-in, but the stab-in was able to survive for so long. But now they have to go up against this 4 Earth, 3 Granite, Bulwark Scion style. Have to really maneuver your team around to try and catch all of these rogues. Apon, big stun onto 3 of the Illuvials here on the red side here for Slicks. But the Apon will fall very, very quickly. Usually it's just a one and done in terms of that stun. But here comes the Rampy. Good little chunk, actually. Tore through a lot of them. This, or not the Scoriox, the Furiox and the Ador both got popped. So now it's just down to the tank line. Is this going to be an elimination here for Web3 Gaming? That was a brutal hit, and that is going to be the elimination here of Web3 Gaming TV Hype. From second in the first game to last in the second. And now we could have another, or we're guaranteed, I believe, another podium team kill. Nefer won the lobby in the last game. Hasu got 3rd. Somebody is going home in 7th in this one, and it's going to blow the door wide open for one of these other players to come in clutch and make it in. Bulwarks versus the Fighters. Tale as old as time here. A little bit of a bunker here for Hasu. Can they get the job done? We'll have to see here, because everything just kind of blinked on over. Let's try that again, why don't we? Try it from the other side here. As of right now, Nefer's squad looks like they kind of jumped into a brick wall, but they still do have that Fur Knight in the back line. But look at all the damage. Look at all the Illuvials still here. It's all on the Umber. I mean, we've seen this before too. Nefer, your tournament life could rely on this Umber popping off, and it absolutely will. Incredibly done here for Nefer to keep that Umber in the game. Knocking Hasu out from 3rd to 7th. Your chances at qualifying here in this quarterfinal to go to the semifinal just got that much harder. And the run here for Nefer is not going to be any easier. Sure, you got one down, but you still have so many more players ready and aiming to take you out immediately. So it is a scary spot here. Or Nefer essentially has to play perfect Illuvium to make their way into like the 5th place position, for example, to give themselves the best possible chance at making it through. But of course, are they running? There is, of course, that Umber. This is the all-star from the last round that we do see here. They don't have any inherent Omnivamp, however, they have plenty of it here in the drone augments, which oftentimes gets overlooked. The Bloodthirst and the combat rhythm stacking together does allow you to have that unstoppable Umber as long as it doesn't get hard targeted early in the fight. It was definitely an exciting moment, and I 100% peeked the hell out of the microphone, but I have a limiter on it. Sorry if it got scratchy, though. And now Nefer's tournament run is now up against Slick's Hype, leader of this lobby in terms of health, but last in terms of the tournament group standings. So both players have lots to prove in this instance here. Slick's trying to hold strong and lead and give themselves the best chance to go from 8th to 1st or make it into that top 4. With, on the contrary, Nefer fighting for what could possibly be their tournament life. Umber's immediately going to dive into the back line and take care of the little Fern. But on the other side here comes the Rampy, goes to burst on through, does some decent damage, but it is not going to take anybody out just yet. The Umber is now in a good spot where it can start to snowball a little bit. It does take care of the one, gets a second, and now that a few more of these Alluvials have dropped, this is exactly where the Umber shines. And it's able to clean up alongside the Riptorus, the Fernite, and the Singe. Or not, actually not even the Singe, that is a fully evolved Seer. Tough time now here for Sota Hype. 9 HP in a Dream going up against Lynx PQP. With one of the players getting eliminated, I believe it was Web 3. No, Web 3. Oh, no, neither of the players playing Rogues actually got eliminated yet. So the Rogues are still contested and on the table. Granted, they did still have the 7 Rogue, 4 Revenant style. 3 Phantoms now here for the side of Lynx. But how does this one end up? There is a ton of attack speed here onto the Stabin, but that's the problem. It's still just a Stabin. It's not fully evolved. Meanwhile, you look at the other side here for Lynx BQP. Look at that Monarch. It is going to be an absolute threat. Gonna dive on through, and especially while you're playing in its realm, playing in the fire, now that the Ranger procs it off, and here comes the Ignite. Inferno diving on through, doing a ton of damage. The Monarch's still extremely healthy in this instance. And look at how bunched up and clumped they are. Stuck in the center. There is nothing Sota can do in that instance. Gets absolutely melted down. And we do also lose Nefer in this instance. Gonna fall out in 5th. Which may be enough to make it on through here. But a big, big day here now for Slicks, Luix, Coolagast, and Lynx in particular. Lynx was 7, Coolagast was 6, Luix was 4th, and I think Slicks was last. Yeah, so this tables have basically completely flipped on its head in terms of the lobby. Luix was the highest placing player in that last one. Was 4th place. They're pretty much guaranteed themselves to make it into the next round. So a small celebration there for the weeks to make it into the semifinals, I'm sure. But everybody else, still every position counts. Immediate focus fire here. Coolagast has that gigantic Gnarl right in the center, just holding the line. Look for that ramp fight to dive to the skies, try to finish a job. They both got their ramp fights going through, but oh my god, Coolagast got way more value as a whole, and they have that slashing now as well. They will absolutely Zerg swarm the heck out of this. That Monarch's going to hold the line as best as possible, but with that slashing still alive. It's also Verdant, which is going to give it that little extra sustain. One more dive bomb here from the Monarch, but it is not going to be enough, and that will be Lynx PQP getting knocked down to 15 HP. Lynx versus Slicks, 2 players fighting from the bottom, trying to get all the way into the top 4. Should be a fun one. Again, of course, Rogue Revenant once again versus the Phantom Style. Going to be, again, with this Ranger, since it does have that Inferno bonding, becoming a Phantom, but also an Inferno. That weapon, this weapon here rather, the Lava Gauntlet, this thing charges so fast, and as soon as you light that up, the Inferno procs, so it gets it out extremely quickly, dives onto the back so it's nice and safe. That Quinks over in the corner is not going to be long for this world, but neither is the Octius on the other side. Immediately going to be getting deleted here, basically doing nothing. Big dive actually coming out here from that Monarch, goes right across the entire team. The Ram fight as well, going to eliminate one, but it's not going to get much more value after that. But the Monarch is free to fire upon everybody, including that little slapping, or stabbing rather. Has to try and get the job done though. Don't let it run away. Can they get the job done? The stabbing was so close, but that is going to now be, I believe that was Lynx PQP taking care of that one. I'm losing my drones here, forgetting who's on which side at times. Happens to all of us, but we have the opportunity to breathe. Coolagast now leading this lobby in terms of health, with Luix taking a little bit of pain. We really haven't gotten an opportunity here to check out what Luix has been running, but take a look at some of these bulky boys here. The Jotun completely stacked up with a bunch of bulk alongside this Rip Lance, which is going to absolutely shred, especially with this Arcane Omega reactor. The longer the game goes, or the longer the round goes, the more damage that Sting is going to pack. Everybody going to clean up their NPC rounds rather nicely here. And of course, all the casual players, or maybe players that did not quite make it into the qualifications of the IPL this time by. Of course, still happy you gave it a shot. Hope you can give it a shot again for next week when we have our IPL 1000. But can get some more practice in, keep grinding in right now. Double XP weekend here for the Battle Pass. So a perfect time to grind out some games. Potentially 2 eliminations if with Lynx PQP. I think we've seen Lynx about 3 times in a row, so I'm going to make the quick swap over and see what Coolagast is up to with this very, very bulky squad up against Slicks. Rogue Revenant, Rogue Vanguard, Phantom. I'm seeing a lot of rogues. Is this the old patch? Because, oh my gosh, we are seeing a lot of them. Or do they just see Sota and assume that it's time to go challenge them? Not sure what the reasoning is, why there's so many rogues, but we have plenty of them nonetheless, and they're all going to be tackling on to that Gnarl pretty well immediately. The Verdant has popped, and look at how much that damn thing heals. So strong, but we've got some decent damage coming on through from the Rampy. It's going to be able to take care of a bunch, and with that slapping now, tearing on through. A little bit of a 3-on-3. Gets past the Malura. The Gnarl's not going to be very long for this world. We have a slashing fight to possibly finish a job, and it's going to be Slicks Hype hanging on. With Lynx PQP falling short here in this one. Going to fall in 4th place. So 7th and a 4th here for Lynx in this tournament lobby. So not quite going to make the cut more than likely, but you never know. Of course, I don't want to say anything until I see it on the website. And even then, unofficial results, things can change. Luix, I believe, already has a Rip Lance, so they're just going to snag the Riptor just to get the augment, it looks like. And then this one here is an actual person versus person battle. Slicks is going up against a Ghost. So I want to see how Luix does here versus Coolagast. So Coolagast has the Monarch. Now that Lynx got taken down, it did open the door for that Monarch to be taken. So good pickup there. And now all the Phantoms are here for Coolagast. Up against Lynx, looking ready to catch here. That Rip Lance is in position. Jotun is in a position to try and eat these rogues alive. But look out for the Malura. Look out for the Gnarl to try and hold the line and distract from the real damage dealers shooting at you from the back. It holds the line pretty well. But where is the Ram fight? There it is, and that is a beautiful 4-player takedown from that Ram fight. But do they have enough to snowball from here? Monarch gonna just do a perfect little dive bomb across pretty much everybody. Takes 2 down, a 2-on-2 to finish the job here. And that is it. That is all. Slicks could not win the match versus the Ghost. which means Luis from 4th to 1st here in this quarterfinal. In a sea full of rogues, they brought fighters, and it was super effective. Kuligas going to get 2nd here, picking up a bunch of those monarchs, and my screen is going to disappear now, is it? Unlucky. I wanted to review everybody, but it's a-okay. In just a moment's time, I'm going to bring up the website here, and we can see what the results currently are showing. Of course, anything that I show unofficial, I am not a tournament organizer or anything along those lines, so of course there can always be disputes. Be advised when looking at these with me. But that definitely shook things up here for lobby number 1. Pretty much flipped on its head. Of the top 4, Luis was the only one to make it into the top 4. But some of the players that we had near the bottom kind of lost a little bit of steam before getting as high as I'm sure they would have wanted to. So, as a couple of moments' times, we'll take a look and see how we end up doing. I don't want to jinx it right now. Oh, no, we're still getting the same amount of drop frames as per usual. So if you do experience a small leg spike here and there, that is not you. That is my ISP. I called. Just a matter of getting it fixed. Not just a matter of rebooting my router and calling it good, unfortunately. Thankfully, it's less than 1% drop frames. I hope it stays that way. Hopefully I just didn't commentators curse my internet. Just waiting, of course, on results to come on through here. Let's get our display capture over and kind of show what this was previously for all the lobbies. None of the lobbies have officially finished their match just yet. Let me guess, as I was talking about it, the internet crashes. That would be poetic. Oh, it did earlier. Okay. I was gonna say, the timing would have been funny, oddly enough, if it did end up being that way, though. But of course, this is just kind of the start here of what is a crazy 2-weekend spree here for the Illuvium Pro League. Of course, I've shown streams in the past, but it's kind of insane that we have ourselves an IPL 500 and then an IPL 1000 the weekend right after. Absolutely incredible in terms of prizing and in terms of competition here for all of our players and spectators alike. I know I'm definitely enjoying it. And I appreciate that the community has been so welcoming. I know sometimes the streams can be a little quiet at times for the most part, but I'm happy that everybody who might be watching from a different time zone can wake up and watch this later on and catch back up. I see you all leaving comments in the comment sections later on, and definitely appreciate y'all. We do have a result actually here, but it's for Lobby 4. Kind of being blocked by me. Hang on, let's scuff this for a second and do it live. I shall disappear temporarily, and let's take a look and see what that is. Of course, Narcash is going to lead the charge here in Lobby 4. 2 points ahead of Slooper. And XAU Drudo. Jonakino also is going to make it on in. The players not making it in this time based off of the lobby results as it stands, of course, unofficially, is Ole Gazera, FRK Phantom, Ole Frodo, and Anubis Syndicate. And poof, I'm back. as the motorcycles or whatever the heck decides to drive behind me once again here. It's that loud even though I have the the windows closed, but it is what it is. Okay. With it being near the month end at the same time, though, as I'm awaiting for some of these results to come on through here, normally I do some sort of monthly recap stream in terms of my own personal progress as a content creator. Do want to quickly touch on it ever so slightly. Not going to dedicate a full stream to it. I would have probably have done it Monday. However, I do have a conflict on Monday in my usual stream slot, so I'm not going to be able to take care of it there, unfortunately. But say what, it's been interesting. Been focusing fully on Illuvium for probably the last 2-3 months now. And while granted, it gets again a very, very similar tale. Where granted, it gets a little bit less viewership than when I was talking about my college esports stuff long ago. But at least everything that the people that are watching it seem to like it, and not a lot of people are giving me like a hard time about it per se. And the people that are watching, they're watching longer and they seem to be enjoying it. I've had a bunch of opportunities and a bunch of doors open to me personally within the Illuvium community. That's made it so that I'm not necessarily posting as much personally as I used to. However, I'm still creating content like crazy. As I will put a pause on that right now, as our lobby that we were following, we do have the official, or not official, but unofficial, but we have an update on the standings as of right now. Luix is going to lead the charge here in Lobby 1, followed up by Nefer. Kulagast is going to make it into the top 4, making it into the semifinals alongside Web3 Gaming TV Hype. Looks like they were able to just barely break that tiebreaker with their second place finish compared to the third. Then Lynx, Slicks, and Soda are all going to fall short with 7 points, but that is absolutely crazy. 4th through 8th are all separated by a single point. Brutal for some of these players here, but that will be the end of the road here for quite a few strong players. Slicks, Lynx, Sodas, or Soda Hype, Hasu, all of those are past grand finalists, if not tournament winners, here for us in the IPL. So, a crazy day, crazy day. But what I was saying, of course, was that a lot of doors opened in regards to opportunities. Of course, I've been casting a ton on the Illuvium channel, whether it be on X, YouTube, or any of their other channels for IPL on Sundays. That's going to be the same thing happening tomorrow as well. I will be joining them once again. Should be myself, Caveman, and Paz once again. And then I've also been doing a bunch of video editing, making TikTok or short style kind of content for Illuvium, and it's been fun. Even before I was into esports like so heavily, a lot of my fun was with video editing, but by doing esports I've had to put it on the back burner for the most part because it was never something that my past work necessarily wanted or cared for, and when I did, it was basically just scoffed. So being able to do it now here with Illuvium and seeing, for the most part, all positivity from the community about it is absolutely legendary, and I thank y'all for it. That does mean my own channel gets a little quiet at times, though, but that is a-okay. People are still enjoying themselves. I'm still creating. I'm having a good time. Well, anybody want to take any bets without looking at the other tab? Who do we think is making it out of Lobby 2? Personally, I can see Nariba fighting their way into 4th. Furies, I can imagine making it on in. If you're thinking Silent wins, you're pretty delusional, my friend. No, that's the one place where I'm not winning. It's on the actual battlefield. I'm the collector, not the battler. The collector without going to the marketplace. In fact, I kind of slacked this week. I don't think I played in the overworld at all. But granted, I haven't really been able to play much of anything. I got the battle pass and then I started doing video editing and I've been having too much fun with that. Made it pretty decently far though. Where did I end up? Oh, I did get the drone actually. The little noise it makes when you open up the battle pass always catches me off guard. Yeah, so I've got my little Muller or Lutheras for profile pictures now. Did I claim the fuel yet? I did not claim the fuel. I should probably do that. I might have already done it in a past stream or past time. Drone skin. There we go. Now I've got me a little guy. Takes some time to load in, of course, but we did just make this one on stream not too long ago, actually, for my Titofi set. Okay, yeah, there it is. See, processing, it's coming. Yeah, so I was happy I was able to complete this set on stream. I think it was last week. And I think I finished a Caradulo set as well. Just trying to remember which one I made. Oh no, maybe that's what I was working on. Yeah, I think that was one I was working on, because I used the Brightland Steps Battle Pass skin for this when I did try it before. Oh, that's what it was. It was this set. I had the suit, but then I made a new drone to make that. Lynx is still my favorite, though. What can I say? I'm a sucker for yellow. We do have the results here now for Lobby 3. Conquer is going to end up falling in 8th. Magnet Syndicate going to fall in 7th. Hollow Hype, the run will end here with a 6th place finish. Zarin is going to get knocked out. Zico Perico. Again, I kind of mentioned it a little bit near the start. They were in my stream the other day saying that they were just getting crushed in tournaments. Well, there you go, Zico Perico. It's good to see you in the semifinals. Good run you got going so far. Maru's going to make it in, beat Zico Perico in the tiebreaker, but in this portion of the tournament, hey, you just want to get top 4? Everything else is bonus. Fancy Pants going to get second, and I'm a Fishy is going to lead the charge once again here for Lobby 3. And our final lobby to wrap up here in this IPL 500 quarterfinal. Axel from Team Apex is going to lead Lobby 2 with Patch Tourist, Fury Hype, Mick Crowan, all making it in with a 2-point buffer separating 4th and 5th here. XAU's Mito, Ole's Nariba. So that is one of our contenders for rank 1 on the ranked leaderboards. Not making it out of the quarterfinals, going to fall in 6th. Texan Hype is going to fall in 7th, and LMNKO from Team Atlas is going to fall in 8th. So that's the gist of it as of this moment. I probably should have just did this earlier before I hopped on through. What kind of games do we got? Nothing as of this moment, so we will be chilling for a little bit while we wait for the next round. I do have chats open on all platforms. Match 1. Soda, I know it necessarily didn't fall in your favor this time, but that is an absolute crazy one. We were talking about that a little bit earlier. Yeah, the fact that from 4th down to 8th was all separated by a point is absolutely ridiculous. And that was a hard-fought battle. I hate that it didn't go in your favor this time, but well fought nonetheless, though. Incredible lobby. Trying to think if I've seen a lobby that close in any of the past IPLs. And maybe for like top spots before, sure, but not from like 4th onward like that, where it was everybody was fighting to get in. That is a crazy tiebreaker. Trying to be good and stay hydrated. I hope all the players are and everybody at home is as well. With all the video editing, I know I've definitely been a bit of a slacker at times. And my headaches over the past couple of days have made me pay for it. So, stay hydrated, y'all. Don't get punched like I did. Especially when you're looking at a screen all day like I am. You need all the water you can get. Which sounds funny considering you're sitting down and you're not like being active and athletic, but it is a thing. Well, it looks like we had ourselves another little internet hiccup, but at least it wasn't as the game was happening. Again, that is on my end, that is not on your end. My apologies, I'm still working with my ISP to fix that. Sadly, it's not necessarily a reboot the router and replace the cable and you're good. I've already tried that, so hopefully sooner rather than later that'll be stable, because it was fine up until like maybe 2 weeks ago. Do they have the bracket made for our semifinals, I wonder? We do. Okay, so for everybody chilling here with me, while we wait for the lobbies to kind of get started here. Between these two lobbies, who makes up our top 8? Any predictions? Anyone want to be bold? See if we have any fans for any specific player. I know personally, I think I have an idea in mind. I'll wait just a minute though before I say anything. Zico and Fury is 2 good picks. Zico on a rebound after a couple of rough tournaments, but making their way into the semifinals here so far. Furies is basically always in the grand finals for the most part. Wins at least one raffle on every single grand final stream, it feels like, but then ends up somewhere between, say, 4th and 8th in the grand finals. But it's an interesting mix. Narkesh is usually a good pick overall. I feel like every time they've competed, they've made grands more often than not. Nefer would be pretty cool to see, though, going from sit and go all the way to grands. 100%, that'd be cool. The way that I'm going to think about this here for... Let's see. For match 1, Narkesh is a safe pick. But there are actually a lot of names here that are kind of like ready to break out. Because like I could look at match 2 and I could say, okay, yeah, we're probably going to see I'm a Fishy, we're probably going to see Web3 Gaming, we're probably going to see Furies, and then we're probably going to see Patch Tourist, unless Tiziko Perico or Luix can make an upset. But Slooper would be, or Slooper and Drudo would be the godsend, like, mega story. Not because they're bad, don't get me wrong. That's not what that's meant to sound like. But based off of past experiences in IPLs, these are the names that I'm more familiar in seeing near the top. But who knows? XAU's Drudo or Slooper? This could absolutely be your day. Same thing with Luix. And of course, match 1, because of the way this one's lined up, a lot more of those names that I know from maybe the mid-section of the IPL tournaments, like they usually would make, say, a top 64, making it to the round of 64 rather, but then maybe fall off in the top 32 or fall off in semifinal, or not semifinals, or quarterfinals. There are a lot of names that kind of fall into that category here in match 1 of this semifinal, which does make it rather interesting. I think this is going to be the lobby that I end up spectating. I know a lot of the heavy hitters and the fan favorites are here for, say, like your Web3 Gamings, your Fury Hypes, and other players that we've known a lot. But there's also an extra bonus here. Slooper is probably streaming. If you want to see that game, go watch Slooper stream on Twitch. Pop out multiple windows. Yeah, then here for match number 1. Okay, I'll stop stalling. I need to I need to actually make something here. So Narkesh, yes. Fancy Pants. I think we'll make it. This is where I get stuck. Let's see. Stats pick or heart pick? Which one do I want to pick here? I almost like it's either I have like 2 picks here, so I want to see Nefer make it on in there, which would have me at 3, but then there's at least 3 more of these last 4 that I feel like could absolutely make 4th here. Axel's been on a tear, 100%. Maru finds their way into these high rounds rather consistently, and it's only a matter of time before they do make a grand final, if they haven't made one already, and I'm just completely pulling a blank. Then I'd also love to see Coolagas get their first IPL grand final. And then McCrowan, I just don't know enough about, but again, I see them here very, very consistently in like top 32s, and this could just be their day. I always, for whatever reason, leave out Jonah Kino, which again, very, very similar situation with Jonah. They're always in top 32s, they're always in top 64s. They've occasionally made quarterfinals, and now we have them here in the semis. Definitely a toss-up, and I can't even go based off of their ranked rating either, because they're basically all around the same level. So it's like, there is no statistical way that I can make an easy pick here. But I think I'd love to see Coolagas get it. I'd love to see any of them get it, don't get me wrong, but I think it would be cool to see Coolagas get in there. For being relatively, again, I'll keep saying relatively new, but it's been like a month and a half now. But still, like, Coolagas is not one of our veteran players by any means. They've recently, like, picked up the game. And they've performed well in tournaments, for like community tournaments and whatnot. I've even had a good couple of IPL runs where they've made, I think, top 32s. But then we get shut down after that. But again, if Maru, McCrowan, or Axel get it, fair enough as well. That 4th spot is going to be super, super contested, in my opinion. I think 1st is almost not a given, but I feel like we have a favorite at least. But with Illuvium, of course, you never know. Never, never know. Do we have lobbies? Not quite yet. I'm gonna check the Discord to make sure there's no hiccups here. Oh, looks good. I don't see anything saying about any issues. Oh, as I say that, there we go. And sure enough, that's exactly the lobby we're looking for. Okay. Yeah, so this works out. So anybody looking to watch lobby number 2, you might get lucky if Slooper is streaming and be able to see it there. But for lobby 1, we're going to be getting into it in just a moment's time. I'm sure you could hear it battling in the background. I gotta kill my music first here, though. And let's get ourselves into the swing of things. And hear the Groko screaming. It is time. Game 1, lobby 1 of our semifinal. Let's flip over. Okay. Alrighty, coverage here of the IPL 500 continues here with our first semifinal in lobby 1. We have ourselves a best of 3 on hand, so back-to-back-to-back matches here. See who ends up in the top 4 of the points and make it into tomorrow's grand final. Of course, at this point, all of these players, for even making it this far, if I do recall correctly, are already into some of the cash prizing or the fuel prizing. So congratulations to everybody. You're not going home empty-handed already here today. But there's still so much more on the line. In this lobby, we have from Team Hype, we have McCrowan, and we have Narkesh, Kulagast. From Team Phantom, we have Nefer. Then we have Maru. From Team Apex, we have Axel. From Team Sura, we have Jonakino. And then from Team Atlas, we have Fancy Pants. This might be one of the first times I've seen a lobby where there is no, like, repeats in regards to teams. Got basically a little bit of everybody unless they're on a team and don't put it into their tag. That is definitely a potential thing that could happen, but in the time being, it does seem kind of interesting that it's rolled that way. Early round battle out here between Fancy Pants and McCrowan. I'm going to go into the way of Fancy Pants, but of course still extremely early in this one. Your region for this matchup here for game number 1 of the semifinal is going to be at Taiga Boreal. Nice and calm and easy, consistent region to play with, as all drone augments are just going to be their full power versions, the stage 3 versions. So they will be major difference makers in this game, but it's at least a little bit easier to kind of predict them. Excuse me, or play around it. And we're going to probably see a bunch of this. Combat Rhythm 3 getting picked up by one of the players here. Picked up by Maru in particularly. where every single time you get an elimination, you can attack buff and Omega, well, not Omega, and Omnivamp for a little bit of life-stealing action. Fancy Pants up against Maru in this instance here. Little bit of a 4-on-4 to finish off the job here in this fight. Gonna get cleaned up nice and quickly. Fancy Pants was second in the quarterfinal lobby, if I do recall correctly, and they're looking top the board nice and quick here early in this one. One thing I'm very curious about, though, we'll hop back with Fancy Pants in a second here, as they're actually playing up against the person I was going to talk about, but Jonakino. So they've already taken themselves down to 84. That is a remarkable amount of damage for being so early in this game. Definitely hurts, but we'll see how they can do in this one. Soda in the chat betting on Narkesh to make it out of there. Honestly, that's a very, very safe bet considering the way they've played over the last couple of IPLs. Almost always a Grand Finals contender. And a winner, IPL winner at that, of course. Good little fight here for Jonakino. The bleeding stops now. They may have taken some damage pretty quickly, but have recovered and taken the little victory here up against their opponent. Weapon check. What's everybody running here? Narkesh is going to be running that Empath Earth Mauler. The Crowans got the Lava Gauntlet here. That's their Scion fire weapon. Fancy Pants has those Earth Maulers there for the Rogues. Nefer going to be bringing out the big old maul here, the water maul here for the Bulwarks. The Rogue Nature Axe coming out here for Kulagast. We have the Scion Earth Staff for Maru. Axel's going to be picking up the Air Fighter Sword. And Jonakino with the Water Fighter Gauntlets. Jonakino getting first dibs on the draft deck. Going to be picking up that Ace. AC-130 coming out to play, or at least getting that red component for a little bit of attack damage. Oh, they were fighting for that Kling up in the top corner. But Kulagast going to pick that up. Fancy Pants going to get stuck with Kuka. Last on the wall that nobody picked is my poor boy Archie. Or Archie, I probably would have picked you first if that matters any. Narkesh is going for 7 Earth Mystic apparently, but not the best region for it. I'm very, very curious. Of course, Soda in the chat dropping that knowledge bomb. In what regard? Because of course I'm not going to claim that I know all in terms of Illuvium strategy. So what about Taiga Boreal with the drone augments would make it not great for it? Very, very curious. In the meantime, we do have Jonakino from Team Sura and Axel from Team Apex in this next fight. The 2 fighters on a rogue up against a few other fighters, rogues, and some Borks alongside. And look at how strong Axel has just been pushing on through here. The chance he's going to pop a shot off, but there are so many high health bars here for Axel. Not even close, unfortunately, here for Jonakino. One more little martyrdom shot there from the TNT, but it's not going to take anybody out. So another big whack here. And anytime I see somebody at 70 or lower before the round 10 mark, I am scared for them. With Jonakino being at 77, that is definitely terrifying. Of course, these matches are streamed live and then put onto YouTube's VOD system a little bit later. So you may hear me referencing chat every once in a while, and I do want to actually take a look here at what Narkesh is cooking, considering Soda in the chat is talking in regards to the 7 Earth with Mystic kind of composition. You want to be rich and play for Mystic. So that is true. The Taiga Boreal doesn't really affect your economy at all. But I'll tell you what, if it comes to just getting Earth, they've already completed that goal, including that little imprint to make their Carlo be an Earth unit as well. So the Earth, of course, giving reflective damage based off of their mitigation, which Earth gives you a ton of. So not only are units like, say, the Gorilla doing a ton of damage, but you're going to be smacking yourself in the face constantly with every shot you give. And look how convincing that was there from Narkesh, putting Maru through the Hurt Locker here this time. Now going up against Fancy Pants. 89 currently here for Fancy Pants, opting for, let's take a look with the Rogue Predator builds of the earlier game style of Rogue. Normally we do not see the Predator build last into the late game. Usually they end up getting thrown away eventually for some of the higher tier rogues, but it's a quick way to at least get you to 4, get you to maybe 7 rogues. Let's see how they do, considering the bulkiness here of Narkesh's Earth team composition. They're going to be running into a bit of a brick wall. They are going to be able to take out the Ranger, but their units and their numbers are falling. The Ranger on the Fancy Pants side is going to fall. It's just down to the Bear, down to the poor Valente. And that is not going to be enough at all here to break through this heavy Earth Granite squad coming out here from Narkesh. Jonakino able to stop the bleeding there for round 10, stays strong at 70. Maru short to follow at 72. Coolagast right there as well with 76. Is there anything else super interesting that I want to take a look at? We got some pretty heavy fighters coming out here from Axel, of course, alongside this Relentless Lynx. Of course, those who tune in to my gameplay streams know that I am basically obsessed with these little buggers. Almost every game that I play, I will go for it unless I see multiple people going for lynxes. Then I will behave. I will look for something else. But if the strategy does allow me to, I will absolutely go for lynxes pretty well every time. It does look like Narkesh did pick up enough for 2 Mystics, so they do have that Mystic buff here in this fight, which if I recall correctly, procs a buff once they hit a certain portion of health. And that is exactly it. Below 55%, they gain damage amp and damage reduction. And that's probably why we saw this fight snowball so hard it was even at one point. Then Narkesh just ran them over. Earth Mystic style, so far so good. Perfect game right now here for Narkesh. 7 Earths and then turning the Cartolo into an Earth is definitely one way to do it. Taking a look at some of the players down towards the bottom here. Jonakino looking to maybe try and go for the 5 fighters, but just ran a little bit short, so now they're going to have to opt for something a little bit different, it looks like. In fact, it kind of looks like they're still cooking to try and figure out what they want to do. That is an Exalted Nature Doka, which we do not see very, very often. Of course, a tier 0 unit. This is one of those units that you can go like free to play with in the overworld and just farm if you really, really wanted to. But with it being a tier 0, it does fall off rather quickly, but with it being Exalted, it could at least hold its own a little bit into the mid-game. And then if you're going for fighters en masse, I mean, by all means, keep it on the board. But a lot relying here onto this Doka as of this moment. It did have pretty much all the augments. They do have this Greater Monk here now that maybe they're going to rearrange things for. Let's see how it goes. 2 of our players down towards the bottom. We got Maru versus Jonakino now. Then Maru is playing the heavy front line with that Bulwark Harbinger with 2 Scions as well. Right now, their poor little Felicia is leading in the front line. You normally don't see that too often. And then the Ranger is the other Scion. Fleesh is going to get substituted actually here. Bring out the Rylu so that your Riptorus has a partner. Good eye there from Soda once again here in the chat. Jonah was going for Mud, but is contested by Narkesh. And that makes things extremely painful there for Jonakino. Takes another Maliwap on there from the Bright Lens Steps Vine. Down to 50 HP and good analysis on that. Because, yeah, Originally they were going for Earth, but then you can kind of see where all the Earth was going. Over to Narkesh, who is of course leading the charge. Kind of on an odd spot where you had to pivot, but it's way easier said than done. With Maru taking the win in that one, let's see how they're doing up against Fancy Pants. Going up against Fancy Pants is mixture of position here. Oh god, is this another Earth Mystic here? Oh no, there we go. For a second there, when I clicked on over, it looked like it was Earth Mystic. But no, this is 7 Rogues with the Predators. A little bit of a front line as well here for our Fancy Pants alongside the 5 Bulwarks. 2 Harbingers, 2 Fighters coming out here again here for Maru. The Singe going to be right in the middle, ready to catch some of these Rogues as they dive on through. Specifically looking for that stabbing, I'm sure, because look at how fast it just shredded that Cardulo. That thing's supposed to be a tank, and it went down. It's super squishy. The poor Riptorus in the back line had nothing to target until the Gorilla dove on in. Now it's finally been released. It's able to dive on through on its own turf here in the magma. Can it hold the line long enough for the rest of the squad to come on through? It looks like they will. That is going to be Maru taking the win in that one. Forcing those Rogues to play into the magma was a good choice. Alright, back in the draft deck again. And again, first off, thank you, Illuvium, for getting a quick patch out here so that we do actually get to see the draft decks a little bit more consistently instead of being frozen on the other screen. Much love to all of them to get the job done. Last on the line here, Fancy Pants going to scoop up the Railu, which leaves nothing but the poor little Tiru left on the bench. There were a couple tier 4s in that one. I think I saw a Mammoth and a Neeb as well. Those are pretty valuable units, all things considered, but all got scooped up rather quickly, leaving just that poor little Tiru. For our next one, we've got McCrowan going up against Maru. We do have Air Shock Inferno. Oh, they were really debating which one they wanted to actually end up using. It must have been based off of who their ranger was bound to. And making the switch over to the Arctase. So Quick Inferno is going to proc, but you have yourself on a bit of a timer. Can you get as much value as possible before that magma reaches your units, which some of them are already getting cooked, and it looks like all the damage has been cooked. It's just a matter of dealing with this Arctase, which is still flying around, still firing off that carpet bomb. Couple of low health bars here, but it is not going to be enough for the Ranger, I think, to really take care of. One more shot from the Ranger going to get the job done. McCrowan going to take the heat once again in this one. Yeah, when I looked over to Fancy Pants a couple of moments ago, it did show like a lot of Earth, but then we do have the Rogue Predator Vanguard kind of style here with Bloom attached as well to allow, in this instance, it'll be the Ranger getting the Bloom buff, and then the Lallura is going to get healed and I believe get more damage as we get longer into this game. So lots of firepower here, but this does now lead to a bit of a Rogue v Rogue battle here. Rogue Revenant Vanguard versus Rogue Predator Vanguard with the bulwark on each side. Let's see how this one goes. The big carry, lots of augments being put onto this twine here actually here for Coolagas. Where is the Rampy? Good little dive bomb, going to take care of the twine as it goes down. Decent little trade overall. But the little bit of verdance coming out here on the red side is keeping some of these Rogues a little bit more topped off, and that tiny little bit of sustain was probably all they had to do to get the job done. Fancy Pants is barely going to fall to Coolagas in this one. A nice little mix-up to bring the verdant in with your Rogues. I know when you're playing Rogues, probably the last thing that you're really thinking about is healing, because 90% of the time you're focusing on bursting something as fast as possible, or getting your late game Rogue to snowball where you want it. I guess the only healing you'd really be thinking about for the most part is your Omni Vamp, but Not with this composition here for Coolagast as of right now. A nice, interesting take on the rogue strategy for now. But as we hit round 17 here, going through this NPC round, let's take a look from the top down. Arkesh, their perfect game has been shut down, but they are still leading this lobby rather convincingly alongside Axel from Team Apex, Fancy Pants from Team Atlas, McCrowan, McCrowan from Team Hype, Maru, Coolagast, and Nefer, 4th through 7th, all within 7 points of each other. But then Jonakino, that contest trying to go Earth at the same time as Narkesh is just painfully wrecking them here. Granted, they did find the Exalted Gorilla. Maybe that is one way they can get themselves back into this one. Maybe that is the piece. Oh, they did find the Exalted Monk here as well. So that does give them 4 mud. I mean, I would be foolish to count them out. Heck, even just last week, we seen Aki and Borges do exactly this, where they pulled mud out right as they were about to die and were able to get themselves, I think, 3rd and 4th respectively. Let's see how it goes. Some decent augments onto that monk here as well. And actually, a rather dominating little fight coming out here from Jonakino. This is exactly what they wanted to do. It doesn't matter if you have that leveled up tier 5 for us, when the mud can just swarm and take you down. And Soda, thank you. I appreciate the positivity. Thank you so much. Well, we'll have to see. Jonah basically has to play perfect Illuvium here with mud to get the job done. So what happened then with Narkesh if they didn't? Well, I guess they're not they weren't going for the rogue. And I guess they weren't necessarily focusing on the fighter aspects of it, but more so the mystics. So a little bit of a different style here with the mud, or with the earth rather. Might have found, or might have given Jonakino the opening that they were looking for. Let's see if they can hold the line. Coolagast is here with that rogue compositions. 7 rogues, 2 Revenant, 2 Vanguard, with the Verdants for a little extra sustain. Specifically on that Twine and on that Ranger. The Twine's already going to be shredded, and the Verdant is actually not in a very, very useful position. Where is the Rogue Ranger? It does get deleted, but now that's a perfect puddle here for the Verdant Rogues. They're fighting right on top of it. This could be troublesome unless it gets bursted down, and they are going to be able to do so. Beautifully done there from the Mud units here. The Gorilla, the Monk here, and then the Chakondi joining them as well for a little extra firepower, getting the jump here onto Coolagast before that Verdant healing could really start snowballing. Main Jonakino's still the only one on the bubble here, so we will keep riding with them for the time being. Now up against McCrowan. McCrowan, what are you cooking? We have 6 Scion already here. I like personally what I'm seeing. You gave Scion to your Raffi. This guy is going to pack a punch. Scion to your Firminio. That is an interesting take, but I love it. Arctase is going to be bringing the firepower here with the Destructive Force Reactor. Lots of damage, but lots of squishiness. They do not necessarily have much tank. It is completely relying on that 6 air style to be doing all the dodging to get the job done. It might work versus Monkir, but will it work versus Gorilla? The fact that I don't even see Gorilla anymore because it just ended up falling. Lots of firepower, but the Monkir, it's been left alone. It's been able to just open fire. It just has to deal with the AC-130 that took out the Ranger. One-on-one duel, and I'd rather have fists up close than a fireball. So beautifully done there from Jonakino to get the job done again. That Monkir saving their skin. I must have missed the true sight as well, so that was a clutch opportunity there. Where did the true sight even come from? I didn't necessarily see it, but if they had the true sight, that definitely helped during that air battle. Now, more than likely, somebody is getting eliminated right here, right now. We do have Maru versus Jonah Kino. Also, to note, Nefer is with 10 HP as well. So we could see possibly 2 eliminations here if the ball bounces that way. Let's see how it goes. Cardlock's holding the line. Right now, the Monk here had a hard time actually finding their entrance into the fight. They're going to be going up against a Crunk, which is going to blind them pretty well instantaneously, just rendering them short. Never mind, they do have the true sight again still, so they are A-okay. Still just absolutely wailing away on all these carries. Once that true sight got cooked, once that Monk here got in, it is absolutely curtains here for Maru. Shut down. Not eliminated, though, just yet. 2 HP for Maru, and Nefer did end up winning. We have 4 players now within kill shot in our next round. The suit amplifier had the true sight, so that's why I couldn't find it. Thank you, Soda. Tier 4s and Tier 5s on the board. Dash is going to be immediately scooped up here. Might be too late for a snowballing rake or snowballing umber, but you never know. Better late than never. A couple of alluvials with the magic components, or the omega cells as they will call them here. All going to get scooped up. Narkesh going to be picking up the little gorilla, leaving our poor little Kuka, the last one on the wall. Let's see where there it is. Okay, so the Hunter's Precision, that is where the True Sight comes through. And it does give the Monk here some extra attack range. So that is why you see them kind of buddy-buddy all snuggled up like this. It's so that this Monk here doesn't have to be necessarily point blank with you to open fire on the entire field. Interesting to see, but we've been with Jonah Kino for quite a while here. I still want to keep tabs, but at the same time, we have a bunch of people in eliminations kind of territory. Maru, Fancy Pants, this is going to be scary too. Nefer and Coolgas, that's scary for Nefer as well. There are so many good fights here. I wish I had the old studio where I can maybe have 4 observers all in-game and I can split screen this stuff. But, for I am just a lone entry-level broadcaster, I think we will stick with this one, considering that Narkesh was the one that was contesting Jonah Kino so hard. Intentionally or unintentionally, I'm not quite sure. But let's see how it rolls. One more time here, Narkesh getting a dove on in the back line. That Flood is immediately going to get chunked down to half. A little bit of a duel between the Lura in the bottom with the Polar Bear, but it looks like the Muds have been able to kind of sustain their way through. They swarm down Narkesh. Jonah Kino shall survive. Takes care of the Lura. And let's see if we can hop on over real fast. Fancy Pants, how did it go? Fancy Pants is out at 8th. That's a little bit slow to get to the fight, but that is incredibly surprising here for me anyway. Fancy Pants was in the top 4 for a long time here in this battle, or in this game, and they will end up falling. Maru versus Nefer. Granted, it's up against the Ghost. How about I try and find 2 that are player versus player? We've been with Jonah Kino quite a bit. Nefer, what are you doing again? Nefer versus McCrowan. I feel like we haven't given McCrowan much love here so far in this first semifinal. Let's take a look. The hyper advantage did make sense there. I always sleep on the hyper mechanic. Fair enough. Good call there, Soda. 6 Scion versus the heavy front line. 5 bulwarks, 3 fighters. You have a jacked up Polar Bear and a crazy Dark Hollow Rake at that, immediately diving onto your back line. We swarm on fourth. This is going to be an absolute nothing burger coming out from the ramp fight on the side of McCrowan. Brutal, but they might not necessarily need it. Did the Jotun get enough time to snowball? It is healing through the DPS. It just straight up walks out. Little bit of a Samoa Joe cosplay there. Walks away from the flying Illuvial, but it was not enough to get them back into this game. Nefer will fall in 7th. Maru down to 2 HP still. Kuligas taking a lot of heat, and it's Kuligas versus Jonakino. So in theory, this should be a elimination one way or another. I had just seen a clip, I think, on Facebook of the Samoa Joe like walk away moment not too long ago, so it was fresh in my mind. But an obscure but a funny reference. Gotta love it. Jonakino, of course, has that for mud. They've been cooking and been playing basically perfect Illuvium here for the last 5 to 10 rounds, trying to keep this going. But now their Monk Ear has kind of been focused down a little bit. It is extremely low, and it is going to go down. Granted, it's going to transfer those stats over, maybe to the Polar Bear, maybe to somebody else. Is it going to be enough to get the job done? It absolutely will. Kulagast is going to fall unless this Ranger goes on an absolute tear. It is not going to be enough. Kulagast will fall in 6th place. Axel on the bubble now here going up against McCrowan. Same thing with Maru. Jonakino, Narkesh once again here in this fight. I want to see if Maru can hang on here. Does have Inferno, does have Dust, 6 air, and plenty of firepower when it comes to Scions. However, a lot of their DPS is going to be diving directly into a magma pit, including, of course, that ramp fight that's kind of stuck in the corner. But granted, it is right next to the Archos. If it does manage to pop off and take away some of the major heals after a big burst damage like that, that could be huge. It does manage to take care of Archos extremely quickly. Can the Octus start to snowball here? It's going to need to. It's lining up for them. Fire one. Get me another one. Not going to be enough, though. Maru is going to hold the line and take care of McCrowan this time by. Jonakino will fall in 5th place. Unfortunately, messages that aged poorly coming out here from Soda this time. Unfortunately for Jonah, they will end up falling here in 5th place. But now, from what looked like it was going to be a scenario where Narkesh was kind of running away with the lobby a little bit, it's now actually relatively close. Narkesh, McCrowan, of course the one player that I was kind of sleeping on in my predictions for this lobby, McCrowan, making me eat my words here. I mean, there's still something that could very well be possible. He said, you think that the one winning that fight would end up 1st place? And I mean, with Narkesh winning that, maybe it very well could be Narkesh leading the charge here in this lobby going into game number 2, but we still have a little bit more Illuvium on the play here. In fact, we have the 2 top players playing each other, and we're going to also see an elimination happen for sure in this next battle here. A fight to get onto the podium. Maru versus Axel. Axel fully loaded up with 7 fighters. Didn't get the 4 berserkers, but has 3 of them. A little bit of Vanguard. With heavy emphasis on Frost, Air, and a little bit of Bloom. Meanwhile, on the other side here from Maru, of course, not necessarily too heavy into any of the affinities per se, but does have Wildfire, does have Nature, and a very, very balanced squad based around their Scions, and then the tanky mid lane, midfield. Apparently this is an Alex comp, though. This is what he loves. It's what he wants to play. So we'll have to see. How does it go? Is this something that I'm going to have to steal later? We'll have to see. Because right now it actually looks beautiful. They've broken the bunkers so considerably. Doesn't matter if they're sitting on magma if you're already cooked. And that is going to be Axel on the podium here in game number 1, for sure. Taking Maru out at 4th. That battle happened so quickly. This one's still in progress. Hell, let's cast 2 in the same rounds. Why don't we? It looks like Narkesh is going to take care of McCrowan, actually, right here, right now. McCrowan fallen in 3rd. Well, chat, you're saying that you had faith in Narkesh going to place highly. You're in this semifinal. Well, so far, so good there for you. I know even in my predictions, I kind of had Axel as a bit of a bubble. A little bit of an unknown. And I'm going to end up getting the spectator glitch here, top down. Heck, we're going to truly have the bird's eye view experience here for this grand final. Gear might have tried with Nefer, but that is still a-okay. The beauty of this best of 3 is that it's not done just yet. But for this game here, let's see. Very well could be the final battle here if Axel doesn't pull through. Fighters versus the Earth Empath with heavy emphasis on Bloom. Let's see how it goes. Allura in the back line, just kind of messing with the Rogue, or the Ranger for a little bit. But we'll have to see. The Rip Lance has been basically untouched and has been free firing here on Narkesh. So far, so good, but they got to break through. They got to get the healer. They finally get there. Now they got to get that Furiox before it's too late. The foe off on the left-hand side here for Narkesh is also just blooming big time, getting so many procs. But this Rip Lance just won't die, and it is going to be able to take care of that for us. Is that enough? No, this next one, one way or another, is going to deal the killing blow of sorts. And we will have our semifinal winner. I try to rejoin the lobby to fix the angle, but I do not want to miss this. Okay, Narkesh in the red. Axel in the green. That's a fully loaded Seer getting the dive on into the front line. Boris is immediately going to target that polar bear, try to take it off nice and quick. The Rip Lance, though, is in a perfect spot to essentially just free fire with that slash-in as well. This could be brutal. Boris is slowly making their way forth, but right now the big damage here on the side of Axel has not been dealt with. Malura now here for Axel is on top of the healer. It's just a matter of time before they deal with that. And with that healer's gone, the front line gone, and all the damage still cooking, there's no chance. Axel, if that's your build, then it is beautiful, and you're going to find yourself the winner here in this first game of our semifinal. There's a little button right here that's right here, copy team. That might be something valuable for some of you. But like, what on earth even? Just heavy, heavy fighter. Good to see. We don't necessarily see it too often, but comes in clutch. And of course, wrapping up our top four, Narkesh, McCrowan Hype, and Maru. What a game here. Good on Axel to be able to pull that one around. Looking for my results. Trying to see if maybe the other lobby happened to have finished already, but it might not have. Quick little refresh and let's see. Nothing yet, it looks like. Well, feel like my predictions basically got nuked. Because I had Fancy Pants up there for sure. So the fact that they got out in 8th was definitely surprising. Plenty of time to still fight back, but definitely playing on hard mode now. Good on Joe Aquino to survive for so long and pivots, find an answer while pivoting as well, and then being able to bring it back and claw back a little bit, salvage a decent position given how much damage you took early. That was really cool to see. Good fight back there. Unlucky that Maru had, or not Maru, that Nefer had a little bit of a hard time, but still again plenty of time to get back into this one. So here are the point standings as it stands right now. Something does seem a little bit off though, so yeah. Has 2 people labeled as getting 4th, so unofficial results, of course, as always. Still just waiting on results here for lobby number 2. We are, of course, going to stay with the same lobby throughout the entirety of this semifinals. That way we get the full story of the one semifinal instead of just getting bits and pieces from both. Again, I definitely recommend, and if you're interested in keeping an eye on lobby 2, do double check if Slooper is streaming. I do believe they oftentimes stream their tournament runs. My predictions are cooked. Sounds about right. Yep, sounds about right for me. You're not wrong. I guess we can kind of get a little bit of a spoiler here. Based on this one, oh no, Slooper got knocked out pretty quickly. Looks like 8th, and then Luik's got 7th. Web 3 and 6th. That's a yikes there for Web 3. And Patch Tourist in 5th. Drudo, good run here. Seiko Perico as well. Emma Fishy and Furious. I feel like this top 4 pretty much matches what we were looking for, with the exception of Drudo making it on in, and I was expecting Web 3 instead. But of course, still game 1. I'm going to be 2 seconds. I need to top off my water before I get a headache, so I'll be 1 second. Alright, looks like we're still waiting on lobby 2, eh? No. Oh no, there it is. Just had to refresh. Okay, so lobby 2 did have their first game here of this best of 3. I'm officially going to lead the charge, winning lobby 2's first game alongside Fury Hype, Zico Perico, XAU Drudo, Hatch Tourist Hype, Web3 Gaming TV Hype, then Luix and Slooper. Of course, we're still going to be sticking around here with lobby number 1 in just a moment's time. Just a matter of getting the game up and going, which I'm sure it's right around the corner of. Which also, while I'm here, of course, if anybody joining us does not know about it, be sure to hop on Illuvilytics, because it is just honestly awesome that you can go and see basically any ranked game that is going on, or tournament match. Click the little purple button here for the lobby code, plant it in game, and you will have access to watch that match live as it happens. One thing I'm going to do real quick, of course, 2 games have passed, and I usually always crash on game number 3, so I'm going to reboot my game. More so a superstition than something that's actually something I recommend everybody doing, but from being in esports long enough, for whatever reason, not just Illuvium, but every game that I work with always crashes after 3 games, so I always reboot the game. Man, I'm not even sitting at the chair and you're still trolling me, Gear. What the heck? I expect nothing less. I should switch this over to tournaments. Okay, not yet. But of course, plenty of exciting Illuvium right around the corner here. I know I talk about the game, I speak highly of the game so much that people probably honestly think that I'm sponsored, but oddly enough, no. This is independently produced. I just do this because I like to. There are certain instances, of course, where it is work when I'm doing broadcasts and whatnot, but these are awesome tournaments. I'm thankful to get a little kickback here and there when working with them. At the end of the day, this is just an awesome IP. I want to see it grow, and we are pushing as hard as we can here. And being able to work with the Illuvium guys to get the job done is sweet as well. Okay, games are booted, but we still don't have a game yet. Excited about the upcoming MMO Lite. This is basically that's what I got into Illuvium for in the first place, was Overworld. Long ago, back when the first land sale happened, Overworld is what made me fall in love with the game. Up until Illuvium Arena, I hated auto battlers. I played Dota Underlords, Auto Chess, TFT, or anything like that. I could not stand the gameplay. Illuvium and Illuvium Arena made me fall in love with it. But I would much rather be in an MMO for my own personal gaming experiences. Like, if I had the opportunity to play Illuvium as the MMO Lite version, or say even Overworld, if I had a dedicated couple of hours where I know that I'm specifically going to play one or the, like I have the opportunity to play one or the other, I would go more so for an MMO route than I would for the arena route. However, obviously arena is way more polished and as of right now, so it's a little bit more fun. But if they're at the both level of polish, I would be more so for MMO compared to an auto battler. However, with how Illuvium's been, I can see myself dabbling in a little bit of everything and loving everything. How about you, Soda? I also know personally on stream we were going over, I think it was a post that Scoriox had posted on X in regards to like raid bosses being a possible esport of sorts with like raid races of sorts, and I could not help but think of the game called Exoprimal, which was huge on Twitch for maybe 2 or 3 years ago. It had a big ad campaign and then inevitably just kind of died out because it just got too repetitive and didn't necessarily have any updates for it. But it was a game where you basically had a raid party going through and either needing to eliminate a certain amount of dinosaurs or take out specific types of dinosaurs with usually like a raid boss or something at the end. But it was PvP, so you both would be going. There might be sections where one team's alone and the other team's alone, but there'd be another section of the map where the two teams could collide and actually shoot at each other. And it's heavy wishful thinking. But if there ends up being a way that we could somehow implement something like that into the Illuvium MMO one day and have that as a competitive outlet, that would be cool. But again, I'm in Disneyland right now. Well, we'll see how it goes. But the potential is incredible. Now, I should stop yapping about knocking out dinosaurs and maybe join this lobby. Okay, this is gonna be interesting. A good kind of O, don't get me wrong. Just load again. That's funny, so you're basically in the complete reverse idea than I was, where I was all MMO to auto battler. But it seems like this is where you kind of came. Auto battlers is where you came from. That's what I want to see as well, though. I really want to see what happens with the stuff that I caught. How can I implement it into the MMO? If I can one day take my hollowed out Flora Arcane Flora links and have it run alongside me killing raid bosses, I would be in euphoria. Alright, let's kill the music, why don't we? Let me get chat back open here so I can see y'all. Oh, Texan, thank you. I'm better late than never. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. Let me have those results page handy so I can actually reference it throughout the battle. Alright. Too many windows, too many windows. Okay, we're just going to be hopping on in here for the first NPC round. So, of course, this IPL 500 continues. We're still in the semifinals. This time, we have game number 2 from lobby number 1, we did get to see Axel take the win in the first game with a composition that doesn't necessarily get played a whole heck of a lot. A little bit of a mixture of fighters with a bunch of other things, but not going full fighter. Apparently, it was a composition that they just personally liked, and they won with it. That is what we like to see. Keep cooking. I love to see stuff like that. But of course, as a reminder, we have Coolgas, we have Nefer from Team Phantom, we have Fancy Pants from Team Atlas, one of the favorites that fell in 8th last time. A little bit of a surprising one there, looking for the comeback. Narkesh, second in the last lobby, looking to make the run once again. Speaking of players that made a run, Jonakino went down all the way to 14 HP extremely quickly, found 4 muds, ran it all the way back to 4th, I believe. It was a good run. Of course, Axel from Team Apex, the winner of the last one. McCrowan from Team Hype got 3rd in the last one. And Maru, rounding out the lobby here, I believe got 5th in the last one. And of course, these matches are streamed live. I have the chats of all of your respective platforms here open on my side window. You might hear me complaining about, oh my god, I have too many windows. It's because I have all of the beautiful people here in chat, so I can see everybody. You both got wrecked in the same round. That's definitely heartbreaking, but solid effort and valiant fight nonetheless, as I mix up the phrases of sorts. But hey, all warmed up and ready for the IPL 1000, I'm sure, for next week, right? Jonakino, we were talking about them a little bit earlier. This time they go for the Earth. This time they get the Mystic. And I don't think they're going to be necessarily contested, at least not immediately this time. But it's still a relatively even duel here. These Dusts rogue kind of compositions here coming out here from Nefer are doing some considerable damage. This little Revo in the back line with the Hyper Force Reactor just getting a bunch of attack speed, shooting from afar and really making a mess out of Jonah here in that one. Let's hop on with our current leader as we do a weapon check. We have the Empath Nature weapon going to be coming out here for Coolgast. And fair enough, they're playing Bunker, it looks like, so this is going to fit right in. Nefer's got the Rogue Gauntlets here for the Earth attributes. Narkesh has that Water Bulwark weapon. Same thing for Fancy Pants. Water Bulwark. So it looks like maybe enabling Toxic as of this moment. Axel gets the Water Fighter weapons here. Jonakino has that Earth Maul here for the Empaths. Same thing for McCrowan. And another Water Bulwark weapon here, so okay. Everybody likes that Water Bulwark weapon just as much as I like my Archos healing my DPS. Can they get the job done with 2 more to go? Coolgas looking to keep their perfect game alive. Nefer is going to get the job done right before that shield comes out. But the little Fleesh, of course, this is exactly why I slander the poor Fleesh so much. It looks like it had the advantage. And they dropped the ball. Unfortunately there for Coolgas. Granted, they don't take too much damage, so A-okay. That does, of course, mean that Nefer is going to be our King of the Hill going up against Narkesh this time by. And one of those windows, you troll silent like no tomorrow. I wouldn't expect anything different. 100%. I was going to make the comment, there's all the beautiful people and then there's gear. No, I appreciate your support, man. Thank you for joining us. Going into this one, we do have Nefer from Team Phantom and Narkesh. Rogue Predator style alongside the Bulwark Aegis. Let's see how it goes. Archos going to assist taking care of that Groko. The damage over time going to knock it down, but this is where that little Revo can make things a little bit interesting. Hop over to our damage bars, why don't we? Let's see who's leading the charge. It's actually this little Windoka, or Air Doka, in the back line. Coming in clutch, but a nice Omega coming out here from the Revo. Now it's going to get targeted, but it did get blinded. That dust comes out at just the right opportune time. But that Doka and its consistent damage, even through the blind, it's got the true sight. It does not matter what augments you have. It does not matter what attributes you are, what kind of affinities you have. I can hit you anyway. Beautifully done. That was Narkesh that I believe won that one. Let's go with them as we take a look at our region here for this one. So this one is a little bit more chaotic. You get a composite imprint that is dedicated towards what you're currently using. Round 11 and round 25. So as we hit round 11, you'll start seeing some of these augments, or imprints rather, coming on through, getting used a little bit more often to kind of really push your team building a little bit quicker compared to how it normally would be. Narkesh versus McCrowan. McCrowan does have Earths and Mystics, so is Jonakino going to be contested again? It very well might be the case. A little bit of an even fight going on through this one with currently again that Air Doka leading the charge alongside the Lynx on the other side, but the Doka's going to take care of the Lynx, and as soon as the Lynx gets taken down, now it's just time to swarm the back line. Narkesh is going to fall. McCrowan going to win this one. Coffee shot. Still got a long day of Illuvium ahead of us here. So one more game after this. I guess the day could be longer, I can't complain. In terms of our lobby as it stands right now, Samaru is going to be down at the bottom alongside McCrowan, 64 and 69 respectively. Jonakino, 70. Fancy Pants with 80 left, Nefer with 81 left, Narkesh with 83, Axel with 83, and then Kuligas with 97 still leading this lobby. With a Toxic Aegis bunker composition relying heavily on nature and the support from that Archos to keep everybody topped off. I definitely love this kind of composition as well, but I kind of tailor mine a little bit more towards Scions. What's the problem I always find is when people see my bunker composition and then just set up all the way on the opposite side of the field, so my Archos can't actually heal my tanks. Let's take a look at our leaders, why don't we? We have Kulagast up against Narkesh. So first and tied for second. We're seeing this Lynx is basically carrying all of your imprints in this instance here to make the team go. Has the Lynx become the Bidoof of Kulagast's squad? I think it very well might have, but we'll have to see. Fighters, Templars, Aegis, oh god, we have plenty of things here for Kulagast. Meanwhile, on the other side, heavy bulwark into Aegis as well, with a little bit more emphasis on that toxic and water style coming out here from Narkesh, and so far they've been able to tear through that front line. The Lynx is immediately onto the DPS, trying to get one more shot onto that Fleesh. It will right before it goes down, which means it's just the Lone Ranger versus 5. That Ranger is not going to be long for this world. Narkesh, good shot there onto Kulagast, not knocking them off the leader's position just yet, but a good chunk nonetheless. Let's see, let's roll from... Narkesh won that one, so let's go back with Narkesh here. Going up against Maru, I was actually just going to click on Maru and see how they were doing here. Excuse me. We do have 7 rogues for Maru, but nothing really here to support it. We don't have no Revenant, we don't have Predator, we don't have Vanguard, but we do have Frost, and hopefully for them, that is enough crowd control to get the job done. Of course, I do have, on occasion, get lag spikes. If you did get a lag spike just now, that wasn't you. Working with my ISP still. And Narkesh, of course, did end up getting the 4 Toxic, so full power poison action to be coming on through here from Narkesh. As you see these white numbers just jumping up from the skies, just slowly ticking away on top of the heavy damage that's already coming on through. Beautifully done. Narkesh is in a very, very strong position. It's always me, yes, Gear, I know. For Toxics, this was kind of something that going into this patch, I feel like a lot of people are talking like we were going to see this all the time, and it's not been around anywhere near as much as I had thought. It is good, healing a ton with the explosion damage, but not as much as we thought. Maru's gonna get a first dibs here on this draft deck, gonna pick up the slap in there with that magic Omega component. The Crowan does pick up the Mammoth. That's a nice little pickup there. Whether you need that Mammoth, whether you just want to sell it for 4 credits, by all means, go ahead. Same idea here for Nefer and Jonah, getting 3 credits each for that pickup. And they were all racing for that Polar Bear. Did Axel actually need it for their team composition? No, they absolutely did. So a very, very strong pickup here for Axel. They had this, if I recall correctly, let me take another look at that. They have the 7 fighters with Berserker already online, including, hello gorgeous, the beautiful Relentless Emberlinks, completely loaded up as well. That is absolutely crazy to see. But at the end of the day, we are still doing King of the Hill. We are still following Narkesh for at least one more round, going up against Jonakino, who did find the 7 Earths, 2 Granites, 3 Mystics. But do they have the tank to withstand these fighters here on the side of Narkesh? They have the Toxic as well, so it doesn't matter how much tank you have if you're just going to be slowly getting poisoned through your defenses. As we do see, it looks like they're just running right through here. Mystic or not, 7 Earth or not, absolutely shredding. Crazy to see how quickly and how efficient this squad is. Jonakino going to get whacked in that one. With that being 3 in a row here for Narkesh, we'll hop to the bottom here in just a second. Oh, along with some of our other players here for the time being, as we await for players to start getting towards the bubble. As I say that, we do have our top 2 playing each other. 4 Toxic versus 4 Toxic. I think this is what everybody expected the meta to be. Might be a little late, but I think we're finally seeing it. Never mind. I'm going to hold that thought about going down towards the bottom players. I just want to see how our top 2 do here first, because this could be a critical moment in the game itself. It's interesting to see that Narkesh basically has the same team as our red player here as Fancy Pants, but just better. So basically, statistically, I feel like this should be Narkesh's game to win. But of course, positioning is another thing, and drone augments could be another thing as well. Riptorus here for Narkesh was nowhere near its healers. It could not heal enough. But how about that beautiful Ranger in the middle here for Narkesh with that water weapon, the Borg weapon, coming in clutch. I honestly thought Narkesh was going to end up falling there, even though statistically it wouldn't have made any sense. But that Ranger really, again, came in clutch. Other NPC rounds are going to be joining us in just a moment's time here, so let's take a look at some of our other players down towards the bottom, see what they are running. It's still 3 Water, 3 Frost, with 7 Rogues here for Maru. All guns blazing, but absolutely no backup. Scary way to play, but could still work. Meanwhile, on the contrary, we have so much defenses, it is not even funny. But in the meantime, you don't necessarily have the firepower to really get the job done here. We're still rocking the Hero Doka from earlier just to try and give a fighter bonus probably to one of the other Illuvials here for Jonakino. Granted, they're in a much better spot than what they were in the last game in terms of their health count, but still a little bit worse for wear. And we actually have both of our players down at the bottom playing each other right now. So I do want to hop on with this one. So you got the Ampass, you're going to have plenty of shielding coming on through here for Jonakino. The Mystic buff, of course, once you hit that 55% health mark, getting damage amp and then incoming damage reduction is always a good thing. But you don't necessarily have anybody here that's for the heavy firepower. Like, who is your carry in this instance? The Doka still? That hurts. Unless they could finally find something to switch to. They have plenty of sustain. They got the Adorido even. And okay, they are going to make the switch. Foe is going to be their carry. Meanwhile, on the other side with Maru, anybody here could basically be the carry. But look at that ramp fight. It is loaded up. It may not necessarily be the ideal augments, but it has some. And with that positioning, look at the position here for it. It's going to get stunned up in just a second. It has maybe 4 or 5 in its crosshairs as soon as it takes to the skies. Jumps to the skies, takes down 1, and chunks 4. A nice shot. But let's see, we need that sustain from Jonakino to come on through, to flood the Adorado. They're going to work, but can they keep this Scorbuck alive? That's the only thing keeping it from its healers. They finally do die, but at the same time, it's been long enough for the healers to come on clutch. The little TNT's damage, alongside the Adorado's auto attack, was enough to get the job done. Maru down to 20. Oh, excuse me. We haven't really gotten to see what Axel's been up to, so let's take a look and see how they are doing. Of course, yes, we did kind of peek and see the fact that they do have the fully loaded Lynx. Better Link's going to be doing a crazy amount of damage. I'm sure this foe is here as well, does have the immunity as well. Probably going to feed over some Omega power to either the Stabin or maybe the Lynx. Meanwhile, going up against the Empath Mystics, so it's basically all fight or firepower, but at least this Berserker buff does allow for a couple of them to keep healing themselves as they swing. So not only does this Lynx do a ton of damage, it is going to be tanky as well. Look at how quickly these fighters just shredded that front line, and the Stabin is there as well. I do not see a world where Jonakino is going to be able to sustain through this. They're going to try their damnedest. They got a bunch of the Illuvials off the board, but that Stabin, the Ranger, as well as that Lynx, just shredding on through. Maru is playing rogues, but with the bulwark weapon. That would definitely make things a little bit difficult, I would imagine, as we now see them going up against Nefer, or possibly their game life here. So this does make things kind of interesting. So it does, getting the bulwark weapon does allow you to get that Vanguard buff, but is it enough to keep this ramp fight alive? Keep this bear going too. So there's a bunch of rogues, and then there's just a bear. Granted, it does have a rogue imprint, so I guess it is going to follow through. How terrifying would this be? Jump scare polar bear right into your back line. Let's see how it can hold up. It's immediately getting focused, though, by the Monarch and the Stabin on the right-hand side. Axon's going to fall pretty quickly. There comes the Monarch. Dive bomb across the entire board. This ramp fight, Omega, is going to get 2, so it takes care of 2, but it was just 1 tank, and then it was just a Tiru. So no major valuable targets. The Stabin is going to fall here on the red side. Monarch is going to fall. It dodges the Omega coming out here from the ramp fight. A very even fight. 2 Illuvials falling here on the right-hand side. Maru fighting for their tournament life, but they have been shot down by the Monarch. The Monarch was able to stay alive that entire time. For game number 2 in the semifinal, Maru will be the first one eliminated. Jonakino now is in the hot seat, going up against lobby leader Narkesh. A bad loss in this instance could mean elimination. Not guaranteed, but they're pretty close at this point here with 17 health left to go. Empath Mystic, of course, does have Bloom now enabled here to try and let this forest go nuts. But meanwhile, same idea here for Narkesh, but they have their forest as basically the carrier of the imprints. Just blending it in with that toxic affinity, and so far so good here for Narkesh. That Riptorus as well, or not the Riptorus, that's a Rip Lance, just stabbing on through. Every one of those Omegas hits like a truck, and unfortunately here for Jonakino, this was a loss. This is a bad loss, it looks like. Is this going to be enough to eliminate them? The Flood trying to keep that poor little lure alive. And 1 HP. Jonah Kino is going to hang on for dear life. Scary stuff there. That Rip Lance is doing a fantastic job. Nearly tripling the DPS coming out of that forest on the other side. 1 HP at a dream means you have first pick. What are you going to dash towards here on this draft deck? Immediately go to the top. Are you going to pick up the Scarabach? Yep. Going to get the big old tank to try and join the squad here. Join that heavy earth granite squad. Do they even have the Goliath? They don't have a Goliath yet, so in theory, you can maybe go for that third granite. Squeeze getting picked off the board. Fancy Pants going to snag Little Vermilia. And of course, Narkesh for the last pick. Just going to pick up the Winks for more than likely just credit value. But get that red augment as well. Or that component, rather. Sure enough, that's exactly what they needed. So by picking up that final Scarabach, that does give them the 3 granted. Optimally, you find the 4th. And I do believe... was it round 22? No, it was round 25. You gotta survive a little bit longer and you'll get another component thanks to the Abyssal Basin region. But we do have a choice to be made here in just a second, unless they play each other, because Jonah Kino and Nefer are both within striking distance of getting eliminated here in this second game. Chat, if you have any preferences, by all means, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just pick one randomly here. So it's going to be Jonah Kino versus Kulagast. Meanwhile, it's Nefer versus McCrowan. 2 very, very difficult matchups for our players here. Axel wants the Rip Lance so bad. I mean, it would fit right in now, wouldn't it? But... yeah, Narkesh having one is going to make things extremely difficult, I'm sure. Alright, we'll stick with Jonah Kino for this one. 1 HP in a dream. That's not a meme, that's reality as to this situation here for Jonah Kino. Up against Kulagast, who does have a very bulky, scary squad here. 4 Templars are activated. So these fighters are going to be absolute beasts. The only one on the healer for Kulagast is this poor little lesser monk here. And if anything, this Adorido is just healing through the damage that the monk here is doing. And it's just charging its ability so much faster. Meanwhile, though, this forest on the side of Jonah Kino has a good angle, actually. It's been shooting constantly through the entire team. Look at that burst damage, but it's all onto this empath buff, onto the Archos then to try and top people off. Bara is still trying to chop on through. Now the angle's a little bit awkward, but with some of the players, or some of the Illuvials changing their positions, it does allow for them to get focused down away from the Archos. We're going into overtime. One of the few times we actually see this overtime beam coming on through. It goes through the shield. Is it going to be enough to keep Jonah Kino alive? I think it will be. Kulagast going to take the loss there as soon as the Illuvials ended up not getting bunched up and started straying away. Gets the job done. Now, one way or another, we're going to have an elimination on our hands here this time by Jonah Kino, of course, in the red side now. With that Earth Granite and Bloom mix heavily focused on Empath Mystic. Meanwhile, Axel, as was mentioned earlier by Soda in the chat, they really wanted to get that Rip Lance, but it's getting contested. Could not quite find it. Granted, they did find a Slash-in, and they've loaded this thing up with energy damage, basically, alongside that Berserker, so it's going to be healing as well. Look how fast it just chopped the hell out of that Flood. That thing's supposed to be a tank. This thing is deleting Illuvials. A beautifully cooked little Slash-in, but can it stay safe? It just completely neutered all the healers on the side of Jonah Kino. I don't think this one's going to be close at that rate as long as that Slash-in stays safe, and it is very safe in the back line. That was disgusting. Crazy, crazy play there for Axel. Once again, with the way they've set up their augments, making it rather brutal to try and deal with. Narkesh is going to knock McCrowan down into 12 HP as well. Let's see, who are they playing? We've got another one. Somebody's getting eliminated right here, right now. Once again, McCrowan, though, they have to deal with this little penguin once again. I was going to call it something else, but I need to try and keep this actually somewhat clean. So we do have 2 of these synchronizing pulse reactors, where Slashin has a bunch of attack damage as is. Turning that into energy damage, that's why we see it popping it so quickly. Popping all of the things it attacks, with the Berserker as well. So it's getting attack speed. It's getting healed, I do believe, at the same time every 3 attacks. Or no, not healed, but it's getting additional damage. It's at 4 Berserker that you get that. Meanwhile, McCrowan, they were also going for this Empath Mystic style, a little bit less emphasis on the Mystics. It's a tanky squad. They have 4 Granite, so they're going to be constantly popping invulnerable. Maybe that's what they need to try and deal with this Slash-in. They're just wailing away here on this front line. It doesn't have the healing. Do they have the Omega Power? Or not Omega Power, but the Omnivamp. Actually, Axel doesn't have any Omnivamp in the slightest, so that could be the way that they falter. But I lied. Somebody's going to be taking a nap here, and that is going to be McCrowan. And Team Hype falling in 5th place this time. We have Narkesh up against Axel, and we have Kulagast up against Fancy Pants. Kulagast could survive, I feel like, from this point, unless it was a really, really bad loss. But at the same time, if Axel loses, they are for sure out. So I want to see what happens. I know Axel would love nothing more than to just take some more damage here off of Narkesh. They wish they had that Rip Lance, but could not quite find them because Narkesh took this one. That big old Seer, though, going to try and lead the charge in regards to tankiness. Do have that Lynx on the right-hand side as well, which is deceptively tanky. But look at how fast Axel has been able to demolish his front line. Holy smokes, they are just absolutely shredding once again. But the Rip Lance, it's still alive. It's still healthy. Never mind, I lied. They are immediately taken off the board, leaving only the Lynx, only the Slash-in left. But that's all you need. Axel is looking unstoppable here in this fight. Switch over to Kulagast real quick. That ended so quickly. Can we see it? I don't think we're going to be able to. Oh no, we are like midway through. There we go. Kulagast, of course, trying to hang on. Oh god, Super Chicken down on the bottom left-hand side is going to keep Kulagast in the game, it looks like, and take some damage off of Fancy Pants. NPC around here for this next one. Your top 4 have been secured here, with McCrowan, of course, falling a round or 2 ago. Narkesh, Heavy Nature, 4 Toxic. A little bit of water sprinkled in there with the 5 Bulwarks, 3 Fighters with Berserker attached. Fancy Pants with the same weapon, actually. Looks like Water Bulwark flails are the way to go here. In this one, 5 Toxic for Fancy Pants. That might be a first for me, and I guess with the composition, or the composite imprints that come through with Abyssal Basin, that makes sense. That's crazy to see. Kulagast, of course, 7 Nature. We have a lot of Nature this time, don't we? Top 3 as of right now all have at least 6 or more Natures. Templar Bulwark with Empaths, and then there's Axel, the lone player without emphasis on Nature. They have the foe, but that's literally it in regards to Nature. And let's see how this goes. Fancy Pants versus Axel, or Kulagast versus Narkesh. Super Chicken is ready to rock. Blazonite is here ready to take care of Narkesh. Very curious as to how this one will end up falling out, but at the same time, I wish I had another Observer slide, because I would absolutely... You can see what Axel and Fancy Pants are doing. I feel like Axel might be able to take it, though. Let's see if I Commentator's Curse him in a couple of moments. We'll have to see. All eyes on this Blazonite. How much can it open fire without being messed with? It has plenty of backup. The Forest as well, getting completely focused and blown up super quickly. That is kind of scary here for Coolagas, but the main carry, that Blast is still there, still firing, trying to mess with the Exalted Mokir, is not going to be able to do it. Look at all the bodies still charging down on Coolagas as Narkesh is looking to tear through, but there's so many bodies that want to actually be up front. They can't bust through the shield. They're running like lemmings off a cliff, just constantly going one after another into the gulag, getting shredded. Holy smokes, Coolagast, how did you manage to pull that off? I did not expect Coolagast to survive that with how brutal their front line got taken down. And then for Fancy Pants and Axel. Axel must have won that so one-sidedly, it was enough to take Fancy Pants down from 20. Eliminate them, and here you are. Your podium in our second semifinal has been set. Let's go for the two players that are actually playing each other. Coolagas is going up against the Ghost here. Which Ghost are they going after, actually, though? I'm very, very curious. It is up against Axel. There is a world where if Axel beats Narkesh and Coolagas can't beat Axel's Ghost, that Axel could win right now. And that'd be their second win here of this semifinal. Oh my goodness. Let's see if Narkesh can play spoiler here, though, and shut down Axel. We'll have to see, keeping an eye on that Penguin. It immediately gets shredded. It's onto the healing line. It's onto the Rip Lance. Look at it go. Each one of those swings is chunking so damn hard. And the Lynx is still there as well for backup to be the tank that it needs, considering there is no healing really on this blue side. It does not matter. That is going to be some serious damage coming on through. Narkesh is down, but Coolagast did win the Ghost battle. So we are going to see that finish in just a moment's time as I get the final match glitch. Let's quickly speedrun this and get back into the game. I am very surprised Coolagas was able to hold the line, but I guess we did kind of see that when it comes down to the corner, they've been able to hold the line pretty well. Oh, we made it just in time. Beautiful. Okay. This is probably our final battle here at this point. 7 fighters with Berserkers here. Coming on through here from Axel. Meanwhile, Templars, Bulwarks, Empaths, oh god, coming out here from Coolagas. Can Coolagas find themselves a win here in an IPL game? It's right on the line. Blazonite, though, completely open season, firing upon everybody. And again, other than the Berserker buff, there is not really any healing coming out from the side of Axel. They're onto the back line. This is where things get stuck in the past, but they could not get past Coolagast, and they will find themselves as an IPL game winner here in this one. Oh my goodness, we were talking about the 20% attack speed plus that shield. This is exactly what they were looking for. And personally, now that I've seen how you properly use this thing, I am going to take note as a bunker player. Beware my ranked games, because not only are you guaranteed to probably mess with my Lynxes, but now I'm probably going to steal the staff, because that was beautifully well done. A fantastic showcase here from Coolagas. Another fantastic finish here for Axel as well. That is a second place finish, or a first and a second now. Meanwhile, Narkesh, a second and a third. So far, so good. Fancy Pants making up for that 8th place in the first game, getting themselves into the top 4. Solid overall. Mick Crowan, 5th place. Solid overall. Jonakino and Nefer, and then Maru. Maru probably, unfortunately, in regards to the lobby itself, having the biggest stinker of sorts. But you have one more game to try and get the job done. Bring it back on over to the display cap here. We get ready for our next one momentarily. Ooh. of course, for everybody tuning in, this is probably the one time this stream. Maybe I'll do it right at the end of the last game as well. But if you have not done so already, my plan is to be covering as much Illuvium Pro League as I can prior to Illuvium stream taking it. So whether it be the IPL 500 right now with the quarterfinals and semifinals, or maybe going into next weekend when we have the IPL 1000, I want to be there ready to stream, ready to get coverage on as much of the matches as I possibly can. It's a lot of work, but it is worth it here for this community, and I thank you all for all the support. If you have not done so already, depending on which platform you're on, whether it's following or subscribing, that would be a blessing. I would thank you if you're able to do that. If not, that's a-okay by all means. This is free after all, here for you, and I'm just happy that you're here. We have some results. Oh, results for both lobbies. Okay, here we go. So, with Kulagast getting the first place position here, that's going to bump them heavily into the top 4. Currently 3 points outside of the cut line where Jonah Kino is. Fancy Pants is 4th, does bump them up a bunch, but it has them currently tied for 6th. Never's in the worst possible position, unfortunately. Basically needs our top 4 to all drop in the top 4 in order for them to get into the qualifying position. But to never say die, and now that you've made the semifinal, there is still prizing on the line. By all means, keep pushing. Don't stop just yet. Then on the other side here, I'm a Fishy and Fury Hype leading the charge, 1st and 2nd respectively. Zico Perico holding the line in 3rd as of this moment. 2 points outside the cut line here, where that tiebreaker between Web3 Gaming TV and Luix. Luix had a trash first game, actually. So the fact that they've been able to get themselves back into 4th is fantastic. Beautifully done. Oh, but it was Drudo who had the hard time in game number 2, dropping from, I believe, 3rd down to 6th. And Patch Tourist isn't having much luck right now as well, so unfortunate there. Slooper's still having a bit of a hard time as well, but again, like I was saying, still plenty of prizing to go. I'm not sure if you can hear the car popping off in the background here, but hopefully you don't have to. The other lobby just got started, but of course we're going to stay with the lobby that we were with before. And this one coming up is going to be our final game of the stream. Because everything else, Grand Finals wise, will be played tomorrow on the Illuvium stream. You can catch me there as well. I think we're starting at 10 in the morning Eastern. UTC wise, I'm not 100% sure. I'm still getting used to UTC. Reboot my game one more time for good luck. And of course, anybody who has taken a look at my streams, or my personal streams, normally I do stream as well Mondays and Wednesdays. I can't do Monday this week. Unfortunately, do have a conflict with an appointment that it will need to be done. But I'll be back on Wednesday, of course. But on Wednesday, we were working on my Illuvium Zero blueprint collection. I had set off my research labs to look for drone skins for the Sepphoris. I am happy to say that we did find the Mozart today, right before stream started. So the Tier 1 collection is continuing to build. I'm personally trying to get 1 suit and at least 1 drone of each Tier 1 Illuvial, including all of the evolutions. So like a living dex of skins of sorts, I guess you can say, almost. But I guess a living dex would mean that I'd also then have every variant of suit and every variant of drone. That'll take me a while, but we'll cook. That car is still going, my goodness. I'll be 1 second. Buffer break. All right. Oh, we got a lobby. Oh my, we're finishing this on Brightland Steps. Or no, that's the other lobby. The other lobby's finishing on Brightland Steps. Well, I'm glad they got a bit of a head start, because they're going to need it. Well, that's still an interesting one, though, actually. I like this. Nice way to end it off. Nothing too crazy, but still impactful. Sorry, my chat was out of my sight for just a moment's time. I see right before we hop into this one, a few questions just to answer real fast. Thank you for clarifying about the UTC. So 3 p.m. UTC is when we will be going live, I believe, for the Grand Finals tomorrow. Will I commentate the big 10K Leviathan tournament? I have not been contacted yet. And Stormin H has been streaming on Twitch all of the Leviathan games, so not been contacted, but I'm sure. I mean, Stormin's been crushing it already through the other Leviathan casts, so for now, no. All right, and of course, before we begin, again, big thank you for everybody for tuning in. Whether you're just watching casually or whether you're coming in off of your own run and watching the tournament after the fact, I thank you for being here. And of course, 1 second. All right, let's wrap this thing up. IPL 500 semifinal here for lobby number 1. We're getting started with our final game. Currently leading the lobby, of course, is going to be Axel after getting a first and a second place respectively, followed by Narkesh, Kulagas, and McCrowan. Everybody else fighting to find their way into this top 4. However they have to do it, your best strategies, you gotta get it out right here, right now. Of course, once again, these matches were all streamed live at one point, so I have the Twitch chat, the YouTube chats, X chat, everything's open, is on my side. So I'm thankful that they're also able to coach me alongside the cast, point out things that I maybe don't necessarily see half the time. And one thing already being brought out here by both Texan and Soda, that this here, our region, Halcyon C, credits from wins and loss streaks are double. So economies are going to be flourishing here, and apparently that's very, very strong for Mud. So considering you're trying to get a lot of those tier 1 units rather quickly, it would be a good time to do so. In just a moment's time, we'll go over a weapon check here. We have Fancy Pants going to be with the air fighter weapon to start things off. Maru, the earth bulwark shield of sorts. Nefer has that earth maul for the empaths. Axel has the fire boomerang, the fighter weapon. McCrowan, the lava gauntlet here, the scion weapon for fire. Earth Rogue bracers here for Jonakino. Narkesh has the Fire Bulwark while having a ton of waters right now. Interesting. And then Kulagast. Kulagast is the only one that has a water weapon, has the Water Bulwark. They were looking for the Water Fighter weapon. Nobody had the Water Fighter come through the lobbies, or at least it wasn't selected. So the shortcut to mud is going to have to be by grabbing the water alluvials and having an earth weapon rather than having the water weapon. An interesting change of pace. And of course, going into this next one, let's take a look and see how everybody's kind of starting off here. A nice early mule here coming out for Fancy Pants. 5 bulwarks already here for Maru. Granted, they have the Earth bulwark weapon, so sure, that's one way to do it. A little bit of a mixture, some more Earth here. Kulagast. Already 3 fighters, 3 bulwark, not bad. 3 fighters, 2 rogues, 4 rogues, and then Narkesh with the 4 bulwarks, but has a lot of water. So we'll have to see with Jonakino and Narkesh being down towards the bottom, they get first dibs. I think that's going to be Vermilia with the Omega Cell picked up here from Narkesh. There is a Riptor walking around with a fire imprint that nobody has been actually looking for, considering Toxic was so heavily played in the last one. I'm surprised it made around so much. Interesting to see. Yeah, there very well might be a scenario where there doesn't end up actually being any mud players this time, which would be surprising, but not unheard of. Let's take a look at our lobby leaders here, or our lobby leader with Fancy Pants, who needs a good finish to try and get into that top 4 after having a really rough game number 1. Game number 2, they at least got into 4th place, but now, in order for them to get into a qualifying state, they have to come from 6th and get into 4th, which as of right now is a 4-point gap, so they need obviously their best finish possible to best their chances, and how good it would be to maybe Narkesh down a peg here in this battle. The water's coming out here from Narkesh. Sure, it might be charging those Omega abilities a little bit faster, but the raw output of damage coming out here from Fancy Pants is just too much to handle. That polar bear already has 3 augments on top of it, and each one of those swings hits like a truck, and that is going to be more damage done to Narkesh. Okay, another one of our players near the top of the board, Axel, or in fact is the top of the board, currently has a 2-point gap onto Narkesh, 15 points compared to 13 respectively. And compared to the cut line, Axel is, let's see here, 7 points away. So basically, Axel, don't get last, and you basically have yourselves a qualification into the grand finals for tomorrow. See how this goes here. Fighters and rogues, screw the front line, I have damage. It's a play here for Axel. Honestly, it's been working pretty decently in the last couple of games, and with it targeting down that polar bear, it's not a bad start, but unfortunately the rest of the squad has been taken down. Eventually they'll turn onto the Lynx, and Axel going to take the whack here this time. Of course, that blast animation where the Brightland Steps Vine comes out of the ground and Waxia is a part of the Battle Pass. That's why I think we're seeing it so much, because there's a lot of people, I feel like myself, who just never, ever found a drone blast at all. Like, never went to the marketplace or anything to get it. For the longest time, I mean, I've been playing this game for years. I never had a drone blast until the Battle Pass, where, of course, I now have the Vine. Which is too bad, because there's some pretty cool drone blasts in this game. One more time here with Fancy Pants as they go up against our Game 2 winner, Kulagast, who's rocking the 6 fighters, almost already has 7 fighters, damn, with the rogues and the bulwarks. As of right now, Coolagas has the numbers advantage. Everything else seems to be getting taken down. A Polar Bear, granted, is still alive, but so are 6 members on the side here of Fancy Pants. Win streak has been stopped. But cheer for, of course, for Halcyon C. Having your streak stopped, whether it be winning or losing, it definitely hurts financially. Battle between our top 2. Maru looking to shoot themselves up on the board as best as they possibly can, leading this lobby now after having a bit of a stinker in game number 2, falling in 8th, but they did have a pretty middle of the ground game number 1, so not terrible in that regard. But our winner from the last one was Coolagas. So no, let's watch these top 2 battle it out here for just a moment's time. I'll go back to Coolagas here in a second. For Air to Dust, 5 fighters here on the side of Fancy Pants. And unfortunately for Maru, looks like they were going for the 5 bulwarks, but they could not quite find the 5th bulwark. So they will not have that extra bonus damage from being attacked, so that definitely hurts. Little Fleesh going to try and take down that Revo, is going to be successful at being able to do so. The blind in the middle, however, making things a little bit complicated. Here for some of these fighters, Fancy Pants is going to probably get themselves back on the board. Spamming that drone around, flying all over the place like I'm a StarCraft player just trying to move my drones. To the mineral line, just back and forth, back and forth. Still have the muscle memory stuck in my head. 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A. Go, charge, 4th, and swarm. Let's take a look and see how everybody's doing here, going forth to this next NPC battle. Of course, Fancy Pants leading the charge after taking care of Maru that time. Air Dust with the fighter mixture. Having that Polar Bear early was definitely a bonus. Getting a couple of fire Illuvials as well to add some extra firepower to the squad, literally. Then we do, of course, have Maru. Had a couple of rough games, but now they're fighting their way back into this one. Nature Earth with a little bit more of an emphasis on a front line. Just needs that 5th one. Jonakino, this is probably the best start they've had so far in this semifinal. 7 Rogues, 2 Revenant. Well on their way to trying to get this rogue build started. Just needs a couple more Revenants, maybe another Empath or so to get yourself some sustain. Coolagas does have the 5 bulwarks, has some fighters, has Aegis. Relatively beefy, but yet powerful squad. Axel 5 fighters relying a little bit more on these Lynxes to get the job done. No front line, but just pure damage. Nefer, a little bit mixed when it comes to the comp for the classes, but look at the 7 Earths going right into their pocket. McCrowan with a very, very fast squeeze, actually. 6 Air, 4 Scion. If they can keep finding squeezes, that thing's going to hurt like hell. 8 Water coming out here from Narkesh. Opting to actually make the switch in the last possible second to make that work. But our battle at hand here is going to be Fancy Pants versus Jonakino. Haven't necessarily had the chance to take a look at Jonakino's battles yet, so let's take a look while we can here with Fancy Pants. We'll go elsewhere in just a second. As of this moment, it looks like Fancy Pants is doing pretty good, but that Lynx is still extremely healthy. The little Rogue Atipo for a little bit of diving support, that is probably the first I've ever seen something like that. And that alongside the Lynx is going to be able to knock Fancy Pants down a peg and give Maru back the lead. Yeah, 2 Revos at the same time for more dust. That definitely makes things irritating, I'm sure. Narkesh with the weapon switch, actually. I do not recall them having this Aqua Blaster off the start here. They might be forcing themselves to try and go Steam based off of the Alfie and the Dash that I see on their squad. Man, they do have the augments for getting this Snalf. Oh, they got the Snalf already even. What level are they? Level 7. That's a relatively early Snalf. But of course, this thing is inconsistent to Sin, so I mean, let's see how it goes. In theory, it's going to just target down the Revo. It does manage to blast through 3. Holy smokes, when it finds its target, it absolutely melts. Beautifully done there. The blaster coming out from the Ranger going to do some decent damage as well. Tank line holding the line. And there goes Kamehameha right through. 2 more. Just have to deal with this damn Penguin. And with that many Illuvials on the board, they get the job done. Narkesh, it's time to turn it around. It might be an interesting time here seeing Narkesh go for a full water squad. I never see this. Getting the 2 water chips was absolutely huge too. Absolutely. Definitely provoked going for that 100%. There is a dash on the board if Narkesh wants to go. There's 2 even. Take your pick. Which one would you rather? Rather have the magic damage? Maybe boost your Sinalf even more? Interesting to see there from Narkesh. Oh, the little Fury was on board as well. Kulagast going to pick that one up. I mean, you have a semi kind of bunker style. Granted, it's with fighters right now, but if you have a fighter chip and you want to put it onto that Fury, that could be valuable. And of course, 8 water, the buff that you get from it actually did change. It used to be it would apply lethargic to your opponents after they use their Omega, but now you actually gain Omega power stacking every single time you cast. And now that on top of the steam that has been activated should mean that this Rake is going to be an absolute crackhead. We'll have to see how it goes. Dove right into the sights of a polar bear, but there's that untargetable, and there is the water blast from far for support. And with that Rake constantly going untargetable, right when you think you have it in your grasp, you don't. And a beautiful play here from Narkesh to take some more health off of McCrowan. The wise choice there for Narkesh as well. Switching over all of the Omega power augments and damage amp over to the Rake. Just making every single time it goes and that puff of smoke, it does so much damage. And then getting additional healing, there's your snowball effect, where you heal every single time that you get a takedown. Some resistances as well to make you a little bit tankier. That is so brutal to deal with. Let's see how it goes here. Narkesh versus Fancy Pants. Fancy Pants does have the shock affinity now available to them alongside that 6 air, so it's going to make the Rake's life a little bit difficult, but it could very well be compensated by the blast. In fact, they're constantly adjusting which augments are on which Illuvials. They have the firepower now onto the Sinalf, because look at how many Illuvials it's hitting. It immediately just shredded the carries, with the exception of the Octius. At the second time around, though, will absolutely get the job done. All eyes were on the Rake when in all reality your damage was coming from that Sinalf, I think. Look at that damage. 5,000 so quickly here from that Sinalf because it got so much value with the way that it shot. When it finds the right target, it is an amazing unit, but half the time, let's be honest, you're fighting a rogue off to the right-hand side. Meanwhile, everything else is off in the top corner or something like that. But we rode along here with Narkesh for a while. I'm gonna see who else can we hop over to for the time being. Why not Invoker over Harbinger? That is an interesting choice or interesting idea. In theory, it would be to proc Steam, maybe. But considering that they were putting more emphasis on the Sinalf that rounds, that would make sense. Yeah, if you had a Fury, that would be beautiful. That would make this thing incredible. But now let's take a look. Who haven't I really followed much? I feel like I haven't followed Jonakino very much here in this one. They're going up against Macroin, so I want to... Or Microin. So let's see how this one goes. Scion, Empath coming out here from Microin. 6 Scion, in fact. Gonna max out on that Omega power. Alongside the air, alongside the Inferno. Because this definitely sucks. Like, you had the squeeze so early. But unfortunately, like, you could even go shock if you really wanted to, but unfortunately this squeeze just does not have the right augments to really work with. So it's just sitting here on the bench. He has 2 of them, but could not get the Octius. Meanwhile, on the other side here, for Jonakino, the Rogue Vanguard style, opting against the Revenant that we've seen a little bit earlier, trying something a little bit bulkier here with Vanguard. Let's see how it goes. That ramp fight jumping into the top left-hand corner is going to hit like a truck. That is a ton of Omega power just sitting there ready to go. Has that one augment that does more damage upon hitting shields as well. So it is going to tear through this squad. The Inferno proccing as well, just going to whittle down this green side. The squeeze is still alive. It actually assisted in very good fashion to try and shut down that squad there from Jonakino. Beautifully done there from McCrowan. I was ready to write McCrowan off there for a second, but nope, slowly but surely, they did get melted away. One thing I'm not sure if this is accurate, but normally when I see somebody's tag kind of go dark like this, that means that they've disconnected. As right now, Coolagas does look like they might have DC'd. Let's hope that that is not the case, as we now have Axel versus McCrowan. The one thing that I said with Axel was that if they don't get last, they basically, I believe, have a Grand Finals entry in that top 4 guaranteed. And they're last. So, oh dear God, this could still be interesting. Up for grabs. Oh, hello, beautiful. Nimble Zephyr Links showing up here. Got that fighter imprint on it as well, so it's going to be getting the additional healing from the damage dealt. See if that's enough tankiness to get through and tear through this squad. That is going to be, of course, the Inferno proc here from McCrowan. We've seen this just like last time. Longer this goes on, the more value that's going to find. Octius is now here ready to play, and it's going to be able to help secure 2 kills. And they absolutely melted here through Axel. It is down to the links, but unfortunately at this point, that is not going to be enough for versus 4. Axel. Only one more loss in the tank here for them. Let's see if they can beat Narkesh and keep themselves in the game. Otherwise, nothing is guaranteed. Oh God, that's a number. Okay, Narkesh has found the number. Does he have Omnivamp? Damn right, he has Omnivamp. Combat Rhythm is here. Do we see the unstoppable Umber like we've seen time and time again here? Grand Axel has that combat rhythm as well, but when you're not untargetable, you're just going to get bursted through it. My eye is going to be on that Sinalf, on that Umber. What kind of burst damage can they do to the squad that is better the longer the fight goes, more often than not? Already losing 2, Sinalf taking care of 1, and look at this team evaporate. This is unfortunate here for Axel. The Umber is still completely untouched, but it is murking everything in its path. Sinalf there with a nice little cherry on top there to send Axel packing in last place here. A first, a second, and a last here for Axel. McCrowan still in action versus Nefer. Nefer leading this lobby. They needed a good finish, and right now, they're exactly where they need to be. Yeah, Axel falling in last opens the door to some shenanigans, but we'll have to see. They've given themselves quite the buffer, but it is not a perfect buffer by any means. Let's see, I've not checked out what Maru has been up to for a while. Going up against Jonakino. Maru's going to be opting Wildfire Magma, but they don't necessarily have the traditional bunker that would normally go alongside this. Meanwhile, Earth, Water, Dust, but mainly Rogues and Vanguards coming on through on the other side here for Jonakino. Let's see how it goes. Ramp Bite to the skies. That's some good damage. It secures 1 kill, and it's going to help with the other onto the Crunk. Granted, this is the shadow that I am just realizing now, but we'll have to see. Can they burn through anyway? It looks like they're going to be able to do so just fine. And Jonakino now is going to lead this lobby. Macron and Fancy Pants both are two players that I feel like needed a good finish to secure themselves a good spot. 4th and 5th, respectively. Oh no, 4th and 6th, respectively, currently here. With Macron in 4th. Fancy Pants currently in 6th in terms of the group standings. Couple of juicy pickups there on the board. Oddly enough, the Fury is going to escape free. Nobody's going to pick that one up, unfortunately. Who am I watching right now? This is Maru, and they have Blasonite here ready to rock, actually. No wonder why they've got Wildfire. That's one way to do it, because very few people do I see like intentionally go for Wildfire. It's usually just kind of like a secondary pickup. I know anytime I try to go for it, but granted I also have the debuff of just being bad at the game, so I mean, don't take my standings for as gospel. That feeling when you get Blasonite before Railu, yeah, seriously. Oh my god, that is the little Rai that could. That's hilarious. He's got a partner here in the background too, but just could not find it. But we could have an elimination on hand, so let's take a look and see what's going down. McCrowan versus Narkesh. Is this a ghost round? It is a ghost round, actually, so I'm going to hop on over back to our top 2. Blasonite with the little Rai that could hiding in the background for Maru. Granted, that is a beefy front line with the 5 bulwarks. Rogues and Vanguard's going to dive on through, but I need to find a way to crack this bunker. Let's see if I can find a better angle of the battle. Here we go. Big shot here from that ramp fight. Got exactly what it wanted. But how much damage was done? It's down to the Furiox. It's down to the Blasonite, but it gets charmed up. Immediately shut down. Big shot to Maru, going to take them down to 28. McCrowan will fall in 7th place. Fancy Pants is the next one that's on the bubble here. Am I going too quick here, or what's going on here? Oh, is there still a battle going? Oh. Oopsie. Okay, so let's take a look here. Our bottom 2, who both need a big finish here in game number 3 for any potential at scoring themselves a top 4 qualification spot. Fancy Pants align themselves for Shock and Air. 7 Air, 2 Shock, of course, the play there with the 7 fighters, but no additional class after that. No Behemoth, no Berserker, or at least they have the 2 Behemoths, but they don't have the full 4. Meanwhile, on the other side, Empath Mystics, 9 Earth, 3 Granite with Bloom is the play here for Nefer. In this instance here, if Fancy Pants in the green loses this battle, they will be eliminated from the game and probably from the tournament as a whole. Let's see how this goes. They have that Jotun dead center, fully loaded up on augments to try and tear through this tank line, but now it's being focused. The Forest is here and it's got percentage health damage onto this Jotun. Might be exactly what they need to tear through the polar bear, and look at how much sustain and how tanky this Earth squad is. They get past 55 and it feels like you can't kill the damn things, and that Geyser in the back line too, so tanky while being able to just consistently heal. And with that, Fancy Pants is out in 6th. And 9 Earth, that is absolutely crazy stuff coming out of Nefer, and it got the job done there. Maru, now the next one on the hot seat, this Wildfire Magma-esque, but without a bunker kind of style. Trying to hang on. I mean, they're at worst a 5th, but they probably need more to find themselves into the qualification spots. scattered front line. Shadows to the right, actually evolving to the Railu. So that is a small improvement here for the side of Maru. But let's see if they can get the job done versus Kuligast. Hello, beautiful. That Rip Lance on the left side is going to shred right through this Singe, slowly but surely. Decent chunks considering that's a tank, but now the Rip Lance is going to be targeted by both the Scoriox and the Blazonite. Look at how fast these two can chunk as long as they're not messed with. They're finally going to make it fall, but it's a 2-on-4, but there's no damage left here for Kuligast, and it looks like the carries are going to do exactly that. Got the job done. Maru is not done yet. Shock is a trap of affinity. I kind of believe it. The longer that I've seen games played, the more that I see like the 7 or the 6 air for Shock kind of composition kind of fall on its face. It's been effective a couple of times, but I've seen people go for it more and more often, and unfortunately not quite get the job done. Alright, going into this next one, we have 4 Mystics because, oh dear, the Adorius is here to allow for that 4 Mystic, as if this squad from Nefer wasn't already unkillable. It has so much healing, it's not even funny, but it's going to have to try to out-heal all of this damage from the Scoriox, the Blazonite, the Magma is here as well, but a huge stun coming out here from the Goliant onto both of the carries. There's no chance they break this. Look at this health. Look at the tankiness. The only thing that is going to end up falling here, it looks like, is that Malkyria, but it's a naturally squishy unit. One more stun onto the far side to try and get the job done, but there is still like 7 units here that these two Scoriox and the Blazonite have to tear through. You might be fighting on their turf, but there's too many of them. Maru will fall at the same time as Kuligast, but Kuligast loses less health, so Maru will fall in 5th. Kuligast will fall in 4th. So your podium going into this final game. 2 players that have not seen the podium at all so far in the semifinal, with Jonakino and Nefer. And then there's Narkesh, who's been there pretty much every single game. Basically, it's just the icing on the cake here for what has been a fantastic semifinal for them. I know I was asking the chat earlier before the semifinals started, who do you have? Like, what are your predictions? And pretty much everybody said that Narkesh was going to get there, and I see exactly why. Has been extremely consistent throughout this entire semifinals, and one of my favorite units here in play. The Dwelf is here fully loaded up. You have an Umber, you have a Dwelf. How do you lose with this composition? I mean, if a Ramfight gets a huge ult on you, that might be the way. We'll have to see how this goes. I don't think anybody's getting eliminated here in this one. Watch me, commentators, curse myself in just a moment's time. If somebody gets taken down from 30 or 28, I would be extremely surprised. Now, of course, this does look weird. Why in the world would you put your Scions on the front line? But it's because there is nothing but rogues on the side of Jonakino, with the exception, actually, of that Goliath that's kind of hiding in the middle. So it is going to be the first one to kind of mess with some of these Scions. A last-second move to the left would be huge, but actually a last-second move here for Narkesh, rather, to move that Dwelf off to the side. It's going to fire directly into the Slappin', directly into the Ramfight. The Ramfight didn't even get a chance to cast. The Slashin' didn't even get a chance to swing. Holy... That was the most decisive fight that I've ever seen, to the point where we can actually go see Nefer's game here in just a second and probably be about halfway through. The guy got a Phosphorus now to add on to the firepower. So hang on here. Oh, I guess Nefer did kind of take advantage of the fact that Narkesh had all of their Scions up in the front line, so that makes sense. So we really can't analyze anything off of that battle. Jonakino gonna get first dibs, picks up the little Scarabok. Narkesh picks up the foe. Do they even need the foe? No, but they can use the economy. That works there. Nefer is just going to get the little Cara Blue, more than likely just for that tank augment. Now, Jonakino is going up against a Ghost, so I'm going to stick with our top two here. Narkesh versus Nefer. Literally 1 HP separates both of our top players here in this lobby. Narkesh, he's good at this point. They've qualified. Nefer needs every point they can get to break that top 4, so a win here would be huge at making that happen. All of their damage really relying here on this Phosphorus, but even this Adorius has a ton of additional Mega Power for some stupid huge heals. Let's see how it goes. That Geyser is going to get one shot by the Dwelf on the other side, and now that beam is going directly into the Phosphorus. It's going to live for now. The the Big Ol' Deer, the Adorius is going towards that Dwelf, but what about the Umber? Can they take care of that thing? It's been untargetable for so long. They have so many heals, but they do not have the damage unless they can all 3-on-1 this Umber. Can they get the job done? The untargetable, the Omnivamp. This is where things get scary. Adorius, we need your heals. We need the overtime beams to come on through, and it's not going to be enough. That is going to be a massive hit. Jonakino will fall in third. A valiant fight here to get the job done here in game number 3. But now our final battle is at hand. Again, Narkesh. They've made grand finals at this point. They've done exactly what they needed to do, and they are playing a beautiful water steam composition. On the contrary, though, we have Nefer. Heavy earth, heavy granites. You have the bloom. So in theory, even the super effectiveness or the hyper should be going against Nefer. But they do have a lot of their damage relied on that Phosphorus, which could be huge against the water, but it has to find some of these water alluvials to start charging that thing up, and they have to charge it before it's too little too late. They've gotten a ton of damage. It's sitting right in front of the Dwelf, but it is finally going to take it down. It's going to hang on, but the healer is dead. The Adorius is down. That Phosphorus is not going to be able to sustain this Umber. It will fall. The Umber has been let loose. There's a near tank and a support left to go versus 3, and one of those 3 is an Umber. You're not getting through that one. Nefer's going to fall in second, which means Narkesh is going to be your winner here in game number 3. The last second of Fisto pickup, too, is absolutely ridiculous. And considering that Narkesh took a massive beating, switched their weapon, and then got the water imprints to then switch the weapon, and ran for an 8-water team. Beautifully done. That was ridiculous. All right. We don't have results just yet here, but I'm on the right page. We'll get it as soon as it's published. "100% Narkesh was super consistent. Considering their worst finish here in the semifinal was a 3rd, they 100% deserve to move on forward. I definitely get that. What my biggest curiosity is right now, considering how well Axel did early in these the semifinals. I think it was a 1st and a 2nd, or a 1st and a 3rd. Was the last place enough to knock them out of 4th? I'm genuinely kind of scared there for them. At least you know, in terms of a tiebreaker, their best is 1st, so they have that going for them. But it does make me nervous. Looking over to this other lobby, did I'm a Fishy win both games? That is incredible. I'm a Fishy, I'm a goat, apparently. Which is crazy, considering they're always placing very, very high, but have not quite won an IPL event yet. As I say that, they do fall here they actually got last in that one, so a very, very similar situation. But first last shouldn't cause you out of the top 4, right? I mean, Web3 and Slooper both having great comebacks. Web3 needed a good comeback, because if I recall correctly, they were down here. And okay, here we go. Results, unofficial results here for lobby number 1. Narkesh, of course, super consistent, going to be the winner of that lobby. Coolagas getting the tiebreaker victory, actually, over Axel. Axel's still going to be in the top 4. The last place was not enough given the way that the cards came on the table. And then Joan Aquino fought their way into what I believe is their first grand final in an IPL. That would be absolutely incredible. Of course, everything's still unofficial, still going to hang on and see if there are any changes. But as of right now, that is the way, and that is, or that's the way it is, and that is who will be qualified into our grand final tomorrow. McCrowan just barely falling out. Damn Gear, not bad. Yeah, a lot of your predictions did quite well, actually. And thank you, of course, for tuning in, and thank you for the support. Hope you have a great day. I'm curious. Spontaneous, impulsive move. Holy, okay. Kill the music, I'm not done yet. I was curious, since this is Brightland Steps, that this could take a while. So we're not quite done. I'm actually in the other lobby now. So, Web3 Gaming TV hype. This is where a lot of my attention is going to be given in this instance. Because if I recall correctly, of the people that are still in the lobby, they're the one that needs the best finish to try and qualify. Let's see how it goes. It's Web3 going up against the lobby leader. There we go, a little bit of a better angle here on that bunker composition coming out here from the red side. Red side, of course, hanging on for the time being. That's going to be a big stun onto the Gazetep actually over in the corner. One more time to the skies. That's a ramp fire. Is it enough to get the job done? They're melting away. But what about that damn slashing? It's literally dancing before the fight even ends. Slooper is going to fall in third. What a comeback here for Slooper. Which then leaves Fury Hype and Web3. Based off of what I'm looking at right here, right now, Furies, you're good. Making the top 2 in this lobby is going to get them in. However, how do the rest of this... Oh, maybe Web3 might be okay as well. But either way, let's wrap this one up. Let's see how it goes. I'm already here, so let's finish the job. Earth Granite with a little bit of magma coming out here from Web3. Let's see how this one ends up going. Rampfire is exactly where they need to be. Loaded up on Omega Power. And it felt like it did nothing. That Lynx in the middle is doing so much healing. Keeping everybody topped off. Is this bunker strong enough for Web3 to stay in the game? That Geyser going to be popping a heal here in just a second. Big Empath Shield's coming out at the same time. To the skies, Rampfire one more time, doing some big damage. Big charm from the Gazetep one more time. How about the Penguin? It's going to shred. It's going to do what it loves to do best. Last Illuvial alive. And that is going to secure the victory here for Fury Hype. So things to kind of take note of in this lobby. So of course, Fury Hype gets the win in this one. Congratulations, of course. And this is probably going to put them comfortably into the qualification spot. Web3, this is about as best as they could have done. Got second. In theory, they should put themselves in a great position. Slooper might bump up a couple of spots, but probably will not break the top 5. Drudo did need this badly. They could be in contention to fight for the 4th place slot. Patch Tourist, I don't think we'll be fighting for that top 4 spot, unfortunately, based off of it. Zico Perico made things interesting for themselves, though. Finding 6 means that they're probably going to drop. Luix, I don't think is going to be able to hold 4th with that 7th place finish. And then I'm a Fishy, first, last. Should probably still be in the top 4. I would be very, very surprised if they don't, but we'll have to see how it goes. Alright. Now that's it for matches. Unofficially, the points have come in. Fury Hype leads the lobby, alongside I'm a Fishy, Web3 Gaming TV Hype. Zico Perico is going to secure spot number 4 by a long shot, actually, with Luix and Trudeau 5th and 6th. Slooper moves up a spot, and then Patch Tourist falls to last in the lobby. Of course, just making it to the semifinals does grant you a bit of prizing, so congratulations to everybody for making it this far nonetheless. But so the players that we'll be seeing tomorrow, of course unofficially, as it stands right now, we'll be seeing Narkesh for another, I can't even think of how many times we've seen Narkesh in the Grand Finals, but we'll see them there again. Kulagast, either their 2nd or their 1st time ever being in the Grand Finals of an IPL event, making it in there. Axel, I can't remember if they've made it there before. It could be their 1st. Jonah Kino, I believe it's either their 1st or 2nd time in an IPL Grand Final. Furies, just like Narkesh, is almost always in the Grand Finals, so fair enough. Same thing with I'm a Fishy, same thing with Web3 Gaming TV Hype. So a lot of consistency, a lot of our top players making it through, a lot of our veterans in this one. And then Zico Perico, after coming into the stream on Wednesday saying like they need to turn it around, they've been getting clapped in tournaments, has found the performance that they were looking for so far in this IPL 500. Sneaking into the Grand Finals, or not even sneaking in, that's a 3-point gap. So, a 3-point gap buffer to get themselves into Grand Finals, as of right now, means that is going to be our top 8. Ooh. That was fun. Of course, big thank you to everybody for tuning in to the stream here today. Regardless of which platform you're on, whether it happens to be a follow or a sub, I'd absolutely love it if you were to drop a follow, drop a sub on the channel, and be sure to tune in again. Of course, I always do my own personal streams Monday, Wednesday, with the exception of this Monday because of an appointment, but where we recap IPL and do all things Illuvium. And then, of course, any of the extra tournament coverage on the weekend will also be here on this channel. Yeah, absolutely my pleasure. Soda, thank you for joining us here in the chat. Hope you enjoyed yourself. But for me, it is time to wrap things up. I gotta go grab my wife and the kids and bring them back as we get ready for our bedtime routine for the kiddos. Try to relax a little bit before we have yet another fantastic day of Illuvium with our grand finals for the IPL 500 going to be happening tomorrow. It's a 10 a.m. start time for me. We calculated the UTC a little bit earlier. Can't remember it off the top of my head. I think it said 4 or 4:30 UTC. 3 p.m. UTC. 3 p.m. UTC. I'll be on the Illuvium channel alongside Paz and Caveman once again, giving you the best coverage we possibly can here of our grand finals. And it should be a fantastic time. Of course, this is just week 1 of what is supposed to be a crazy back-to-back week, or back-to-back weeks of Illuvium action. IPL 500 this weekend, IPL 1000 next weekend. But for now, have a great night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.